Aliens, yes or no?
Abduction is totally understandable.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, honestly,
Clip Colin on that too. Yeah. To actually be with like 20,000+ people, a bunch of cops, and people being like, "This is out of control."
have you ever seen Dunkirk?
They're all running.
But like, you know the rhythm of Dunkirk?
Yeah. When do you decide to give up on a podcast episode?
Whoa.
Because that's what I was doing in the moment.
Do you want to say which podcast?
Yeah, do you want to out?
What a cool opportunity to talk about just stuff we would never talk about anywhere else.
This is Colin Rosenblum and Samir Chaudhry, aka Colin and Samir. They run one of my favorite YouTube channels on the platform, highlighting the inner workings of content creators. From long-form interviews, studio tours, and even documentaries, they have spent countless hours with the best creators on the platform. And today, they explain how they sold their first business at 25 years old for 6 figures, the time Samir discovered a ghost in his house, and they even discuss what they had to cut out from their infamous MrBeast documentary. This convo was so much fun, and I really think showed a side of Colin and Samir that most people really don't get to see. I'm really, really grateful that they took the time to sit down and chop it up with me. So without further ado, enjoy my conversation with Colin and Samir. Welcome to camp. I never really got in fights growing up, though.
I feel like the closest I ever got was just drinking too much in college and trying to go the smartass route of like talking too much.
Yeah.
And then being fortunate that I had like a 6'5" lineman for a friend,
Hell
you know,
yeah.
who would just like grab me by the shoulders and be like, nope.
Yeah.
So you were supposed to get in fights.
I would have, I think, a couple times.
What was the time that you were supposed to get fucked up?
There was one time at the Walrus in Boulder, Colorado, where I was like talking a lot of shit.
Why?
Because I'm
To who?
You know how I dance?
To whom?
Yeah.
When I'm out, like I take up more space than I should,
Yeah,
and I have a
that's true.
disregard for the people around me because I feel like my moves are meant to be seen, and I have like an absurd amount of confidence when I'm on a dance floor. It's almost weird, right? Like it's not a version of me that people would think exists.
Like
And
if
so-
you go to a wedding, you're like,
Yeah.
you're the one.
there's footage
Yeah, there's
that's
footage,
just
yeah, at my wedding.
I don't know if it's borderline too much or if it is too much. It's not for me to decide. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, if you feel like it's borderline, then it's
Then it probably
definitely
is too much.
much.
It's definitely too much. Yeah, it's like
For
that
sure.
guy at the wedding needs to cool it because it's not his wedding. You know, like he needs to chill out. And I've been doing that for years, and I was doing it a lot in college, obviously, and bumping into people, which is like annoying.
Yeah,
And
that's
taking up
annoying.
space on the dance floor and a disregard for their space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when people would hit me, I would like, you know, I would just chirp them a little bit with whatever I had in my head at the moment. And my friend Marty would always, he would just come over and like grab me by the waist with like basically one hand and be like, I'm sorry about my friend, and just move me.
Just put you over his shoulder
Yeah,
and
he would
walk
basically
out.
just be like, you're done, that's it.
Is this just the plot of Saturday Night Fever? Like, I feel like this is it. You're like,
pitching
these
your
guys
blunt.
couldn't handle my moves. You're like, what?
Yeah.
You got in a bar
Yeah.
fight because you were doing
In
the
a way.
hustle? Like, what world is this?
My moves were too aggressive.
Yeah. Like, what girl were you fighting over? You're like, it wasn't a girl.
No,
it
no,
was
no.
the spirit of dance.
Yeah, it was just for the space on the floor.
Yeah, that's beautiful, dude. Well, I think we've officially started. All right.
great.
We have
We're
Colin
here.
and Samir here.
Here we go.
The Lax Boys, as I call them.
Wow.
Yeah. I know you from the lacrosse days, okay?
Right.
I don't even care about anything you've done since that.
Yeah.
Lacrosse is really, I think, where you guys peaked.
We get a lot of comments that like people who just come across it, like our channel, and they're just like, wait, aren't these the lacrosse guys? Or like someone commented the other day, they were like, talk about lacrosse, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, come on, what are
We've
you doing?
gotten that comment since
Yeah.
the beginning.
Yeah.
Even when you were talking about lacrosse? Talk
Well,
about lacrosse differently.
No, not really. But when we started Colin and Samir, I think like it was such a hard pivot from what we were doing.
Yeah.
Like I think everyone expected when we announced a channel called Colin and Samir, because we were coming from making content about lacrosse, that it was
Yeah,
going to
of
be
course.
just a different version of that. And the first upload was like so different. It was like us being like, let's explore our artistic side.
Yeah,
And everyone
yeah.
was like, wait, what? What is this?
Yeah,
Like,
I grew up with a lot of lacrosse players, as
Right.
we were just saying.
Right.
Grew up right next to Lake Highland. A bunch
Yeah.
of friends that went to one of the best lacrosse programs in the country. None of them were particularly artsy. These guys didn't strike me as like true artistic savants. I didn't.
You know what's interesting?
I don't think they were making beautiful things.
On the West Coast, like where I was growing up, because lacrosse wasn't really a thing, and then it became a thing. But everyone who played, they were all like the artsy kids, because we weren't going to play football.
Oh,
so it was just like,
hilarious.
how do we like run around and do something cool and like play a sport, but not play football? So then it was all the artsy kids, like musicians, filmmakers, like that's the kids in LA who played lacrosse.
Oh, that's so funny.
And so when I learned about the stereotype of the East Coast, I was like, whoa, that's weird. Like when people would like describe me as like, oh, he's a lax bro, I was like, yeah, doesn't that just mean like an artist?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's me and Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we were just the lax bros
Honestly,
of our community.
we had some guys on my high school team who kind of had a Chalamet vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember telling someone, like, I work at the Lacrosse Network when we were in LA, and someone just goes, I'm surprised you're not a douchebag. Like, that was like an immediate response, sort of. Like, that stereotype was so strong.
I think that's what compelled us to make the content we made was to try and change the stereotype
of lacrosse players.
Because we were into the sport and we didn't connect with that identity at all. And we were like, how interesting that that's the identity. And the only way, like the way you shift ideology is through media. So it was like, I wonder if we could kind of show our version of this. And could we then influence the younger kids to be like, let's rebrand this whole thing?
Yeah. Well, I will say in my time in high school around 2014, 2015, the message that you guys were preaching didn't really get there. Okay. These are a lot of guys showing up to schools just like in lax like pennies. Like that was just like a traditional school outfit. Just straight up penny.
Do so much, you know.
Like crop top.
That was the narrative in our head.
Right.
Yeah. Like big sunglasses, like with the rainbow on the top, visor vibes.
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, you're
you
also
can't,
in Florida, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
That was
That's
actually
even harder
required.
to pen.
That was
Yeah,
required to wear
that was your uniform.
We had to.
There was nothing we could do about Florida.
This is just like a lost cause.
Yeah.
And did you guys play on the same team?
No, we didn't. But we would play like pickup after college when we were working together. We'd go out and play pickup, and
But you guys just
fun.
independently played lacrosse and then became friends?
Yeah, I grew up playing in LA, and then I went to school in Northern California at UC Santa Cruz.
Okay.
Which was an awesome place to go to school.
Why?
Is
that like a party school?
It's not a party school. I mean, it's very hard to party there because all the houses there's no like college area. So you're just living in a house next to like a family. There's no area where all the college kids live.
Yeah, that's
and
what my school was like.
When I went to school, there was no Uber, so you couldn't get around.
Yeah.
So there was no parties, and there was like noise ordinances. It was like a nice beach town.
Yeah.
So it was much more, and that really challenged my version of being in college because all my friends were at big state schools or USC and Arizona and like going to football games, and I really wanted that life and was at UC Santa Cruz and didn't have it. And so it made me focus on completely different things because you just didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I loved going to school there, but lacrosse was one of the things I focused on. I played club lacrosse there. It was really fun. And again, going to UC Santa Cruz, you're with the hippies and artists who are playing lacrosse.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And then after college, I started a YouTube channel about lacrosse. And Colin went to Colorado, grew up in New Jersey, and then we met through a documentary he was making about the Colorado club lacrosse team.
Oh, really?
That's how we met. Yeah.
Oh, so you were playing club lacrosse. Oh, I thought you guys like grew up near each other.
No. Opposite coasts, but
weird.
But weirdly similar experience with like just growing up.
Yeah. So you grew up in Jersey?
Yeah.
So were you aware of the douchey lacrosse stereotype? Like I feel like it's much more prevalent.
Yeah, I mean, I was
here.
in the heart of it. I went to
You're
a
like,
I went
I'm
to a,
him.
I went to a private school.
I'm him.
Yeah, like a small private school in New Jersey, and was, wore yellow pants with like patterned dolphins all over them, and ridiculous pastel shirts and things like that. I wore a tie every day from 6th grade on.
Whoa.
Every day?
Yeah, like we had a dress code. It wasn't just like I chose to wear
I
it.
was about to say.
No.
I was about to say we should end this pod.
Transformation
Yeah,
wasn't
weird,
that
dude.
big. I wasn't like the lone kid in the tie, but yeah, that was the environment I grew up in, and all I wanted to do was play college lacrosse, and then realized when I was trying to get recruited, I was like 5'6", 110 pounds, and it's just like that wasn't that good. It wasn't going to happen, and transferred to being more of an artistic kid, I guess, towards the end of high school.
Yeah.
But yeah, ended up playing at Colorado, which was club lacrosse, and picked up a camera, and I started filming them just to like tell stories and learn how to use a camera.
Right. You just film what's around.
Yeah,
you.
it was just like these are the people that I have access to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was through that I told stories that were not really about lacrosse. It was about the people. My inspiration was like, skate videos and like MTV and stuff like that. So it was really about the lifestyle of the kids there.
Did you skate a lot growing up?
Yeah.
Oh, really? What's like your favorite skate part? Do you have one that like comes to mind where you're like, dude,
Yeah.
this is the one?
I have one. It was Chad Muska in Shorty's Fulfill the Dream.
Yes, dude.
Yes.
Did you watch his fully latered? What's the Vice series that they're
Epically
doing?
Latered?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I did
Super
watch
good.
that. That was really
Dude,
good.
unreal, right?
Unreal.
Also, R.I.P. Vice.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a bummer,
Yeah.
right?
It
Just
kinda
out-
is a bummer,
Out of
yeah.
nowhere.
But that era of skate videos was the first time I was like, whoa, you can make movies just with your friends and the camera you have. Like,
Yeah.
No one talks about how much skate culture influenced
what exists today.
just like digital media.
Big time,
Like
dude.
there's so many people I know that like are making amazing shit and they're like, yeah, I just started doing skate parts as a kid.
Well,
Yeah.
it gave you a canvas to film too. Like I was bad at skating. Me and my friends were not good.
Yeah.
But we would make skate videos. Like we would just ollie. Like we would just go around doing ollies, but we would film it, and then you would edit it, and you put music to it. Like
Yeah.
the first time we learned, and then it was also so much more about like whatever you were getting up to outside of skating. right? Like we used to skate in Westwood, which is close to UCLA, and we'd like run around and get pizza and do weird stuff, and like that's what the videos were about.
Yeah.
It just so happened we'd like ollie.
Sometimes ollie. Yeah, it was
we'd
mostly
sometimes
pizza
ollie,
and then the occasional ollie.
We would just
ollie.
ride skateboards
And then,
to
like,
get the pizza.
Someone would try a kickflip, but we'd like cut before they didn't land it. You know,
Yeah.
So you'd be
Yeah,
like,
you zoom
"Whoa,
out."
Sick.
That
Yeah,
was my favorite when like you would like go up to do a kickflip and throw the board.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I almost had it. I almost had it. I almost
Dude,
had it.
if my heel wasn't,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pebble.
yeah.
Put one foot down on it.
That was a frustrating experience trying to learn a skate trick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the worst. Like I was always like, I liked bowls and kind of like
Mm-hmm.
vert shit because I didn't have to like get off the ground.
Yeah,
I could
you have
kinda
real
just,
vert
like,
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
You
so
do.
dude. Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, bro.
You have
dude.
early 90s vert energy.
Yeah, that was actually the name of my skate park, dude. Is Vert Energy. Mark Gagnon, Big Vert Energy, dude.
Big vert
and yours
energy.
was called Occasional Ollie.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And mine was always 1 foot on the board.
yeah. Johnny One Foot.
Johnny 1 foot.
That's sick.
Occasional ollie is such a funny skate video.
They're like, these guys just love eating pizza. Like, what is up with these? You just progressively get fatter and fatter in every episode. It's like these guys almost
really
never
funny.
skateboard. I mean, that's like how Jackass started, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it was
Totally.
like a lot of skateboarding, and they're like, oh, he stapled his back, and then
Yeah.
oh, he keeps stapling his back, and then they skate sometimes, and then there's
Yeah.
just no skating in it, and like it just came out of skate culture. It was awesome.
Yeah.
There's something inspiring about the fact too that no one else would have paid to film what they were doing. Like
Yeah.
it had to come from within because there was no money in it.
1,000,000%.
when it started.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
We felt a little bit of that in lacrosse. Like no one's going to put this on ESPN at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It is now. But back then it was like no one's going to film the stories of these people.
Yeah.
No one- like actually,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I guess we'll do it from within.
Yeah.
I think we've always felt like that, which is what Colin and Samir started as.
I mean,
right?
yeah,
It was
YouTube
just-
creator.
Yeah,
like,
it was
what,
just like
what is
no
a
one's-
YouTube creator 6 years ago?
No one's talking about this stuff. Now it's like, you know, in Rolling Stone or in like Forbes, and like people are talking about it. But 6 years ago, no one was talking about it. Then we were like, these people are cool. These are our friends, and we want to tell their stories.
Yeah.
So that's always been what's inspired us, and I definitely think it's because both of us grew up watching skate videos.
Yeah.
And like seeing that storytellers come from within a community.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
always disconnected from the money, like the financial gain. Like you
Yeah.
look at like
Yeah.
like the rap movement of like the '90s,
Dude,
like late '80s,
100%.
'90s. Like there's no money in rap
Yeah.
music. Like what even is it? And it's just
Yeah.
the people that are within the culture that love it, that
Yeah.
then blow it up.
Yeah.
And then everyone else tries to get in the labels and all that shit.
Yeah.
But it always starts like organically within the culture.
Totally.
So you guys eventually, do you ever play like competitive like club lacrosse together?
No, okay. Club
Men's
lacrosse is,
league.
Guys.
Club lacrosse is really built out to the point where there's divisions. So I was a Division II club lacrosse player. He was a Division I club lacrosse player.
You're better.
Yeah, I think
I
Colin's
mean,
better for
according
sure.
to my
Yeah.
stats.
Let's talk
And
about it.
the
Let's
league
talk
that I
about
was
it. Let's
in.
open it up. Who's better lacrosse?
Colin, for sure.
Samir understands the game better than I do.
I was a better coach. I ended
No
up,
doubt.
I ended up
No
coaching.
doubt.
Yeah,
He's a coach.
Yeah.
This is how my black friends compliment white people in like football. They're like,
yeah.
he's a high IQ guy. He's like, the fundamentals, he gets
Listen,
it. I'm like,
Samir is high IQ player.
I'm in. You know,
But like you
I'm
need
a
someone to
first
score. You need
generation.
someone to score the goal at the end of the game. Probably give it to me.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm a
gotcha.
first generation Indian immigrant. Like there was no lacrosse in my, family.
That's
there was
fair.
there was no sports.
even though
really.
Indians invented lacrosse. Just the wrong ones. But yeah.
That's right.
Close enough, though.
That's right. Had I played cricket, would have been a different story.
Yeah, that's true.
My dad was a college cricket player.
Was he really?
Yeah, he played cricket. in
Wow.
college.
I mean, that's similar to lacrosse. It's just down here versus up here.
Yeah, but he was a bowler.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Dude, did you play baseball?
No,
That's like offensive.
no.
To, to your
It's-
father. He's
It's,
like,
not offensive.
how
but
dare you bastardize.
I couldn't get into baseball, man. It couldn't get into the culture of it. Also, I grew up in like a non-American household. Like baseball was not. It wasn't. I had no nostalgia to
Yeah.
it. There was nothing.
unlike
connected.
lacrosse,
Yeah.
which is
Unlike lacrosse,
extremely
which-
Indian. Yeah. It's like built into the culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Was lacrosse your way of like rebelling against your parents or like
No, I
immersing
had
yourself
many-
into whiteness?
I had many other ways to do that, which was the way I dressed. Kind of rebelling against speaking the language, like against speaking Hindi, and like actively actively unlearning it almost
Like they talk to you in Hindi and then you respond in English.
in English. Yeah, and like my brother knows how to write and read and like can speak Hindi pretty fluently, and now I desperately want to speak it.
That's hilarious.
But like when I was an adolescent, it was really tough because I'd go to school and I didn't want to be different. The only thing you want to be when you're a teenager is the same. Like you want to fit in.
Yeah.
You want to be cool. And at that time, being different wasn't cool. I think now being different is really cool.
yeah,
but
it's like a thing.
but at that time, being different was not cool. And so I was desperately trying to not be different. And I would like, I could pick up on how people were speaking, and I could emulate, you know, how to talk. And I was just trying my best to learn how to fit in, and how to, not only how to fit in, but how to be cool in school. And that was like my study. I remember watching American Pie and being like, oh, that's how they do it. And what's funny is that they played lacrosse in American Pie, and I never put that together, but it's maybe something that guided me in that direction of like, that's what you're supposed to do.
This is what it means, dude.
This is what it means to be a cool American guy.
Bang a MILF, bang a pie, play lacrosse.
Intersection of like party guy and athlete.
Right? That's the American dream.
Athlete who doesn't try too hard, but is still good.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, he doesn't care, but is the best.
He's not like that into sports, but he's good.
Still
scores the goal.
Right.
That's annoying about
high
coolness.
IQ guys.
Yeah.
High IQ guy.
Unlike these guys,
Yeah,
they work hard on their
scorer.
physique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just nonstop.
Yeah, body guy.
And so you guys eventually link up. You like just message him, and you're like,
no,
this
he
is
messaged
sick.
him. He messaged. I think like I put out one video about lacrosse, and you know, lacrosse is a pretty small community. I managed to reach out to pretty much everyone who could possibly support it.
Yeah.
And told them I'd put their logo at the end of the video.
Yeah.
And so this video came out, and all the blogs shared it, and he reached out that day, I think.
Yeah, Colin was putting it out on Vimeo. And
I was an artist.
You know, I had just started this company called the Lacrosse Network, which is my vision was a television network
Corporate
for
guy.
lacrosse.
Yeah,
Big,
right?
That's the difference.
Big capitalist.
This guy just obsessed with it. You're trying to do something
I'm
pure.
trying to make some art.
Just Wes Anderson, like lacrosse video.
I would rather no one watched it.
Just you know, I love my cradles. You know what I mean?
Just looking for symmetrical frames.
I looked at it and I was like, I remember this, like, there's only been a few times in my career and in my life where I'm like, I can't sleep until that happens. You know, and I remember telling my brother, I was like, I need this show on the network. And like, I need to work with these guys. Like, and it was him and a filmmaking partner at the time. And because I watched it and I was like, this is exactly what we need. We need like stories of characters. It doesn't matter that they play lacrosse. They're good characters. These college kids who are playing lacrosse. And so I sent him like a really long, very professional email. I was like, I'm the president of an up-and-coming sports network called Lacrosse Network.
With a close connection that works closely in hand with Google.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
now, for the record, the Lacrosse Network is your thing.
It's just me in my bedroom.
It doesn't exist, really.
It existed, but it was just me in my bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah. Just editing videos.
Because it sounds official. I hear that and I'm
Right.
like, oh yeah, that's a real,
That's why I
thing.
named it that. I wanted to sound official. And again, I had no connection to what a YouTube channel was. I was like, oh, this is TV on the internet.
Yeah.
So we got to sound good. We got to sound like a TV network.
Also, I'm from the community. I know there's no lacrosse network.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But now you're talking to the president, so
But now I'm
fucking
talking
shape
to-
up,
but
dude.
now
That's
the
right.
president
That's
reached
right.
out.
Yeah. And my brother was in law school at the time, so he helped me like word things really official, you know, and like we like sent Colin a contract. And I remember
I've CC'd my attorney on this, the same last name.
I used to
Like,
do
all right.
that type of stuff all the time, though. I would CC an email account that I also had access to that was like businessaffairs@thelacrossenetwork.com or like, and I'd be like, Garrett is CC'd, and then I would go into the other account and be like, hey, Garrett here.
Yeah. Or let me meet with the board and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like schizophrenic shit, right? Like, this is just like, at what point is this a mental
It's
health
unhealthy.
issue?
Yeah,
He's just turning to a stuffed animal. Like, what do you think, guys?
Yeah.
Colin seems like a nice kid.
Yeah. Should we bring him out?
Mr. Moose. All right. He says yes.
He greenlit the show.
Yeah, 2 paws up. We're going with it. Like, we got to look into this. This is really scary.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're in the
yeah.
middle of a psycho event.
In the middle of a breakdown.
Yeah, just a full conniption.
Yeah.
And then
Basically,
you fell for it. What does that make you?
Well, no, he didn't. He said no at first.
Yeah.
He said
It's like,
no.
we got to get this show on the network.
Yeah, he said no because I asked him to change the music. I was like, the music's not going to work because we don't have the license to it.
What was the track?
It was like Alt J and like all this like
Killer indie rock.
Yeah, great indie rock.
Let's go.
I think I took it all from like the Hype Machine website. You remember that? Like
Yeah,
the
Hype
early,
M.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hype 'em?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was
damn.
dope.
But
But
I was super into the music. Like I would pick the music before the episodes, and I'd already edited 2 to 3 by the time he reached out. And so he's like, "You got to remove the music." And I was like, "Ah, well, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like Vimeo's great."
I was the same way. Like when I first started editing videos, I was like in high school, like late middle school kind of thing, and I would just make party videos like of my friends in school, like going to parties and shit, and I would hear a song and be like, "Is there a party this weekend?" Because I need to make a video to this song. So I did,
Yeah, totally.
Chitty Bang, Opposite of Adults.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
I was
course.
like,
Great
this is
song.
the greatest.
Great song.
I mean, we need to
Yeah.
do a party.
That was in one of the episodes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about the same time
Because I
period.
once was a kid, all I had. You're
Yeah.
like, dude, put your cradle on. We're going to
You put
Chop
almost
Cheddar.
anything to that.
Yeah.
And it's
Beginning-
like, it's time to party.
The first
Yeah.
episode of season 2 of the show that Colin was making was Mace Welcome Back, which was
wow.
dope. Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
like scenes of Colorado, and it was like, you know, the welcome back. Welcome
Yeah, like
the team is back, let's go.
back.
Yeah.
And then the beat drops in there in practice, and like it was sick. It was a very well done show. And basically, I came around to being like, my brother told me, you know, he was like, I can only advise you based on what the risks are, and then you have to evaluate the risk. And if you're willing to take the risk on the music, take the risk on the music.
You're like, stop being so Indian
Yeah.
about it, bro. Like, gosh, like, just talk to me as a human. He's like, look, I can only advise you. It's like, look,
This is the board.
we bathe together. Like, why are you talking to me like this?
And then I was like, all right, I'll take the risk. Let's do it. Let's distribute the show. I think it's like a good show, and I think it's a make or break show.
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
And then that's when you actually linked up for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, when did you actually meet each other? Like, you're in
I
different...
think like a couple weeks after that.
Yeah,
Someone
I think,
flew to
it was
someone?
during the filming of the show. So I had just graduated from college, but I was filming the team.
Yeah.
And we came out to California for a game. And you were live streaming. The Lacrosse Network was live streaming the
Yeah, we were
game.
doing a ton of live stuff.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and I think 1 or 2 episodes had already come out on the network, and they were doing well.
Yeah.
And I came up into the broadcast booth, and met you there.
Yeah, at that point we were just starting out, but like by year 2, we were the largest distributor of live sports on YouTube, which was crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was crazy.
He had wrapped up all the pro leagues.
Yeah, it was like we got the rights to all the pro leagues, high school, club.
And you're probably thinking, oh, this is my thing. This is going to be the way
Yeah.
I like pay for my kids' college. Like,
100
I'm going to have
100%.
this network for lacrosse.
And
I
in a
think you
way,
were also just like, you were competitive.
I was really
And you have the gift of the gab, and you're
yeah.
like natural born salesman.
Yeah.
Just,
I was, I mean, I still am, but I was very competitive back then.
Right.
I mean, the pro league at the time had major sponsors like Coca-Cola.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Like Powerade. And they're Boston based, and he's 23 or 24. And it's just calling them up, being like,
I
"Hey,
was
it's Samir
younger
Chad."
than that, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
maybe
like
younger than that,
21
being
or
like
22,
president
yeah.
of the Lacrosse Network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like using the same
Yeah.
lingo. Like
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
talk to the
Garrett,
board.
you on the call?
Yeah, Gary.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
The
me again.
schizophrenic stuff is really working.
All right, Garrett, you can hang up now.
Yeah.
He's like, you're so handsome, Samir. You're like, Garrett, enough, dude. We're on the. It's a real call.
And he's like securing live rights for a professional sports league.
Yeah, that's
for,
insane.
Yeah, it
for
was
his
wild.
YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It was wild. But yeah, it just, I really did, you know, that was the thought. And that is why I was fighting so hard. But I was also just like, I was not a good student in school. So I think this was my moment to be like that era I wasn't good at. And now I'm in a new era where the rules aren't the same, and I get to show that I
Yeah,
actually
and it's
am.
real.
And
Like,
it's
it
real.
feels like
Yeah.
school, you're like breaking down the artifice
Totally.
that is like
Yes.
higher education. You're like, this isn't anything. But now I'm making real money
Yeah.
doing real shit.
Yeah, just like now I'm actually making change.
Yeah.
And it was validated because YouTube quickly, the team at YouTube quickly got on board and was like, whoa, you guys are doing something interesting.
Oh, wow. Even at that time.
Very
Yeah.
quick. I mean, immediately. There was times where we were like speaking to, like within I would say 18 months, I was on a panel speaking to the, you know, UFC, WWE about how sports should come onto YouTube.
Because we were the biggest distributor of live.
Yeah.
I did
Right?
not realize that.
This is pretty like YouTube signed a deal with NFL for NFL Sunday Ticket. This is like many years before
They
that.
signed that
Many-
deal this year.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah.
Many years before like the NBA, even like
Yeah.
years before leagues were even like allowing footage.
The other
On YouTube.
The other league that was on was the D League. So we were really close with them because we were learning together about how to live stream and how to do sports on YouTube.
And where did you get this savvy from? Like, this requires a lot of like foresight and
It
ethic.
was just aggression, man. Like I think for those 3 years before we sold the company, because we sold the company in 2014. For those 3 years, I didn't live in the same world as anyone else. Like I lived in this world, and it was like Friday night, Saturday night. I couldn't sleep. Like I was just awake, working on Lacrosse Network.
Yeah.
That was it. Like it was just like
Girlfriends,
we didn't go
nothing.
out.
no girlfriends. No, I remember when we sold the company, there was like a Variety article that came out about it. And I remember staring at that and being like, here it is. Here's the moment. You know, like now I'm a guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm someone. And my best friend, who was the only person I still had a social connection with after all these years, was like, we should go celebrate, right? I was like, yeah, let's celebrate. Couldn't put together more people than just him because I had no other friends. And he took me out to a bar and we sat at the bar and just kind of stood, and we both had beers in our hands, and we were standing. And then like a group of girls walked up to get a drink, and he turned and he was like, "Hey, my friend just sold this company." And they went, "Cool," and walked away. And I remember standing there feeling so deflated because I was kind of like, where's my trophy?
There's
like,
a finish line. I
isn't there
crossed the finish
someone
line.
who's supposed to come out and be like, "Dude, you did it"? And that was like a very humbling, important experience to happen at 24 years old.
Yeah.
Of just like, okay. Because I remember the next day I got in the car and I drove to the same office we were working at.
Yeah.
Looked at Colin and
Still looking at this asshole.
yeah.
Like, damn it, man.
Colin and the rest of our team,
Yeah.
you know,
Except now you have a boss, and you're like, damn, like this. How did I get a job out of this? This sucks.
yeah. I would say like the bosses were really great.
Yeah.
Who we
But still, an exit is not the same as being on your own.
No, yeah, an acqui-hire. It was an acqui-hire. So
Sure.
we they acquired the network, but also brought us on as employees. So yeah, you're right. We had a job, which actually was comforting because it was like grad school. It was like getting paid to go to grad school. We got to be in an environment where we learned the business of what we were doing.
Yeah.
And like actually had to operate.
Did your parents care?
Yeah.
They were happy.
I think so.
for you.
I think they were just concerned because like I was doing something that they had no understanding of. They were very supportive. Like we worked out of my dad's second warehouse. He cleaned
that's
it out
cool.
for us. Like there was a bunch of boxes in this warehouse. He's in the fashion business, and like it was kind of not in use. It was like a storage facility. And he was like, "I can clean out the first room. You can work out of there," because we didn't have an office.
Yeah.
And so he cleaned out that room. We worked out of there, and he gave us a ton of support. Like he was always supportive. He was all about us doing it, but he didn't understand how it made money.
Right.
He kept being like, "You guys got to make." It made sense. He was like, "You guys got to make merchandise and sell that."
Of course, he's in
Yeah,
fashion.
he's in
mind, where
fashion.
He's like,
He's like-
make a product.
He's like, "You
Sell
have
something."
You have,
Yeah, right.
You have a ton of fans. They should be buying something from you, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, the advertisers buy the space, which then and he was like, "That doesn't make any sense. I think we should just sell them something."
Yeah, that's so funny. He's coming in. He's like pleated corduroys.
Yeah.
And you're like, Dad, you're not
No,
understanding.
no. Yeah,
You're in
no.
a different mindset.
No, yeah,
They probably cared too because you put your own money in.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
It's not like we had like investors
Yeah.
or anything, right? And at that point, I'm employee number one.
yeah.
Like there's a co-founder that's
Yeah.
like all,
Yeah,
Julian's
yeah.
there.
Julian's
It's
Were your
just
parents
like,
concerned? Like you
No.
graduate college. You graduated, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
I graduated
And then
and-
you're like, first job, I'm gonna
it
go
was
work
so
for.
early at that time, like I thought I was going out for a 3-month internship.
Right.
So when I extended for a year or two, what does it really matter?
Right.
It's also not like it was working that well. Like it was working in the context of we had a lot of content and a lot of fans and people were really into it. But business wise, we were stringing together revenue like by making websites for people, like random stuff.
I mean, a
Just
buddy
like
of mine
filling
asked
the
if like
gaps.
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
made stickers.
yeah, and then we just said
And I was like,
yes.
hey, Samir, I got a friend who wants us to make stickers.
And I was like,
sure.
we can make stickers. Yeah.
There's $800.
And we were in downtown LA and went to go make stickers for a sunglass company.
While you're full time still like,
Yeah.
okay, we
Yeah.
got to live switch this event the next day
Yes,
at this
yes.
college.
We'd be like live switching and then like designing a website in the middle of the game. And
Dude.
yeah, it was
I didn't realize this was such a thing. Like in my mind, I really thought it was like we were doing like YouTube videos to cover lacrosse.
Oh,
I didn't
interesting.
realize the
Yeah, yeah.
depth of the actual
Yeah.
production you were running. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we cut our teeth on documentary, live sports,
Yeah.
news. Like we produced all kinds of content, instructional content.
Why did you choose to sell the lacrosse network that you've created and dedicated your whole life
Yeah.
to this company?
I think I knew for a fact that there's a ceiling in an industry like lacrosse at that time. I think now the ceiling is way higher. There was a ceiling. If we captured 100% of the revenue, we'd be making okay money. And we had not captured 100% of the revenue. This was an opportunity for us to like incubate ourselves, incubate the idea a little bit further with sports media executives who actually understood what we were doing. They're like, this makes sense. And they were trying to do the same thing. And, they had just signed Dude Perfect to like a partnership with their network. And so we also had the opportunity to then come in and work with Dude Perfect. That was like the first big creator we worked with. And so then
Through that.
And so then we learned from them and we got to fly out to Texas and worked with dudes and like,
They had the advertising relationships.
Yeah.
Immediately we were in offices with Nike,
Yeah.
Under Armour.
And what was the company that did the
Whistle.
acquire?
They're called
Okay.
Whistle. Yeah. Now they're owned by DAZN.
Gotcha.
They then got acquired by DAZN.
And so does the Lacrosse Network still exist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the same way?
No, it's primarily Instagram now. It's almost like House of Highlights for lacrosse.
Got it.
And now it's kind of picking back up on YouTube. They have original content. I mean, it's pretty built out, and like the team that's running it is good. And my dream when I started it was like, I hope one day I can watch this as a fan, and that's happening now.
How weird
It's
is
crazy
that?
to me sometimes
It's
that I
crazy.
get my news from the Lacrosse Network.
Yeah. It's strange.
What's up, guys? We got to take a break real quick because you, yes, you, need to maximize your performance in the bedroom. And maybe not you, but maybe your husband. Who knows? But someone you know, or maybe that person in the mirror, could use a little bit of help. And you know who's here to help you? Blue Chew. That's right. Blue Chew is an amazing service that delivers discreet tablets right to your door. So it's the same active ingredient you'd find in Viagra or Cialis, but it is a chewable tablet at the fraction of a cost. Now here's the amazing thing. Blue Chew, you can go to their website, bluechew.com, and it takes a couple minutes. You can submit all your info, and then they will send you a confirmation and then the tablets right away. And you don't have to go to a doctor. You don't have to have an awkward conversation. Well, you know, I'm trying to get the most out of it. Enough with that. It's just you and your computer. That's where you're safest. And then they're going to send it right to you, just like that. Nothing to it. It's not a big box. It's not going to be all embarrassing. It's just right in your mailbox. That's it. First impressions are important, but what about lasting impressions? Okay. And I'm sure you're thinking, look, I don't need this. I'm already having a good time. Hey, this could give you a better time. This could maximize your time. So if that's interesting to you, you can go to bluechew.com. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex, so discover your options. Bluechew.com. Chew it and do it, baby. We've got a special deal for all the people that listen to this show. That's right. Camp Gagnon listeners can try Blue Chew for free when you use the promo code Gagnon at checkout. That's correct. You just pay $5 shipping. Bluechew.com. Promo code Gagnon. That's Gagnon to receive your first month for free. Got nothing to lose. For free. All you got to do is pay $5 shipping. That's like a cup of coffee. One cup of coffee, and you can have Blue Chew sent straight to your door. So visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And thank you so much, Blue Chew, for sponsoring this show and supporting such an amazing podcast. Now, let's get back to it. And you're like, dude, I set up this YouTube channel like 10 years ago.
I remember where I was when I set it up.
And the fact that some people may not even know the weird stuff we put on that channel and like all the stuff we did.
There's an unlisted video right now on the Lacrosse Network.
Oh, for sure.
That's just you guys.
You want to know
hanging
the
out.
most random video on the
No, it's
lacrosse?
public.
Yeah.
It's out there.
Those are all public. But
You scroll back, you'll find
the
it.
strangest video on the Lacrosse Network is I was on a family vacation in the Dominican Republic. You remember this?
Oh yeah.
This makes no sense. It was early days, but we didn't even understand what YouTube was. But I was on a family vacation in the Dominican Republic, and all of a sudden, Alfonso Ribeiro comes out and does the Carlton dance, and I filmed it, and I was like, I'll just upload it to my YouTube channel, the Lacrosse Network. And I just uploaded it. I'm pretty sure it's still live. And it got like a ton of views, but it was because everyone was like, that's a weird, like, random video.
This was the equivalent. This was back when like YouTube, like it was like the equivalent of sending out a drunk tweet or something. It was like whatever.
It just didn't matter.
What's it to me?
Yeah.
Here's Alfonso Ribeiro.
Me at the zoo, Alfonso Ribeiro. That's
Yeah,
what
We
it
were
is.
uploading 2 to 3 videos a day on YouTube.
wow.
Yeah, and there would be like 15-second highlights of like a cool lacrosse goal. And so like there was no Instagram video at the time. There's no Facebook video. So it was just like, yeah, you just upload cool stuff, and it wasn't matter if one of them's kind of random.
Was it as loose as that, or was there some type of strategic methodology to being like, let's upload a lot frequently? The more frequently we were uploading, the more fans we're getting.
That was the message from YouTube at the time. It was like,
Oh, wow.
upload.
And
a
it
lot.
graduated to a much more strategic and like mature place with serious documentary series that were sponsored by
Programming.
major brands.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It graduated in a big
We
way.
were like programmed out, and like there would be like Under Armour would come in and sponsor a month of a series, and then that month was like all brand. The whole channel was branded, and like it was like releasing shows.
Wow.
It was
And
cool.
then the deal with Whistle.
Yeah.
6-figure?
Yeah.
7-figure?
No.
Damn. 6 figures. I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I had like, what, 24, 25?
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, now what? Like, we just got all this cash.
Yeah, I think
we're still working within the company.
Even more so was like the first experience of having a salary and healthcare and mentors, like
Yeah.
mentorship, like to be able to be like, this is a problem I'm trying to solve, and then sit with someone who's experienced and be like, well, here's how we solve it. And then having like a CRO, like a chief revenue officer, being like, hey, I think we can make money like this. And they're like, okay, we'll get our sales team on it. And you're like, whoa, what? Like just being a part of a system was strange.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
And then
that's how we learned everything.
Right. And then how long did you have to stay with them per the contract? Or was that not specified?
I think it wasn't really specified from what I remember, because at this point it was almost 10 years ago. But we ended up staying for 3.5 years.
Wow.
Or 2.5.
2.5.
2.5 years. Yeah. And then 1 year as like external consultants. Yeah.
And was there anyone else within the lacrosse network, or was it just you
Yeah, it was
two?
myself, Colin, and then Julian, who was like essentially my co-founder when we first started out.
Oh wow! And then he worked there for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
And
He
what-
actually then helped run the skate division.
Oh, cool.
And so he brought us in. We ended up working with like Paul Rodriguez and like the Barracks and
Wow.
Yeah.
Chris Chan and like all these skate kids and
Because he was a much more authentic
skate.
kid.
Yeah.
He was like really into skate.
You're saying he could ollie a lot?
Like he could really ollie.
He could ollie all
You
the
know,
time.
we had a carpet board in our lacrosse network office, and we would always like do tricks. And I think he could do a kickflip or
Whoa.
a tray flip on the carpet board.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I
Not
mean-
with wheels, but
yeah, but if you could do it there,
No, he
you
was
could do
real.
it there.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of counts.
Yeah. I feel like that's the only anxiety-inducing thing about being in a really specific niche like lacrosse is that your ceiling is completely tied and contingent on the sport itself succeeding.
Yes,
Yes.
and you're dealing in an environment that's very scarce, so everyone's fighting. And in very scarce environments, no one wants to band together.
Yeah.
Everyone wants their piece of the pie, so you're really fighting. And
more fighting. Like it seems like the opposite. Like, oh, the smaller it is, the more communal it'll be. But like
No,
the,
no.
the scarcity
No.
of
Yeah.
the resource
Yes.
makes brings out the worst in people.
It's kind of like it's winner take all.
Yeah.
So it's very much like
It feels attainable when it's that small.
right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're like, no, I think I can make it happen.
Right.
I can take the whole sport.
we can have the whole empire.
We can have the whole sport.
Yeah.
I think that's just human nature too. It's like it's pretty hard to put together something that's like actually if we all bind together we could just like that's pretty hard to put together.
But if it's so big that you're like, oh yeah, we don't need to be fighting with someone
Yes.
because it's not going to affect us because
Yeah.
there's so much to go around. But once there's so little, it's like, oh, we can take it, and if someone else takes some, they could take all of it. So we got to just like crush anyone that rolls in, and it just creates a really bad environment. Do you think there is a future for professional lacrosse in like a significant way in the way that we watch other sports?
yes.
Really?
Yes, I do. I really do. I think. I mean, I'm saying that as a like dear friend to the founders of the new professional lacrosse league, as investors in the new professional lacrosse
Yeah,
league.
yeah.
It's called the Premier Lacrosse League, and as like confidants in the storytellers who work there.
Yeah. If
That's
anyone's
what I'm
going to do
saying.
it, it's
Yeah.
this group.
Right. Now.
I'm very confident in like their creative abilities, and they changed the product. They made it into a touring model to start.
Oh,
so
that's
they,
cool.
they said we're not going to be geo based because there's not enough fans yet. So what we're going to do is actually change it and say we're going to take this whole thing on tour.
And make the best teams, and then they rotate throughout the country and go
That's
to
right.
events.
And so
Oh,
they
that's
go
cool.
and do events. So it's more like F1, where it like descends upon a city, and then that whole weekend's about professional lacrosse, and then they leave and go to another city.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think that model was really sharp, and the storytelling's different. And now you get every lacrosse fan in a city to come for one weekend, concentrated, and then new fans can emerge. And they have a great deal with ESPN. It's a great distribution.
Oh, that's cool.
So the group is great, but I really believe like it's going to come down to character building and storytelling.
Yeah.
But it's still lacrosse. It's like you watch it, it's complicated. You know, it's not, and the ball's small.
Yeah,
and the
it's hard
guys
to
are wearing
track.
helmets, so there's a lot
of
that's-
rules.
It's not
Yeah,
in
yeah.
basketball. The guys aren't wearing helmets, and it's a big ball that goes into a big
Right,
hoop.
and it's a small. It's
Yeah.
like the court is little comparatively.
Boxing and UFC.
I mean, so
One guy versus one
You
guy.
don't need to know anything.
You don't need to know anything.
I watch Russian like MMA events, and it's like
That's wild.
It's like 3-on-1.
Yeah.
Like you don't even need to know any of the rules to know. Oh, this guy's gonna beat up the other guy.
Yeah, but
Also, I feel like the best stories are when someone has nothing to lose, or when both guys have nothing to lose, or when everyone on every team has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like this is the last opportunity for them
Yeah.
to turn their life around
Yeah.
with this one fight. And with lacrosse, you've got a lot of guys who are doing really well, have a lot of opportunities to go
Yeah.
into banking and finance.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? So I think storytelling is harder in lacrosse.
Yeah,
there
it's
are
yeah.
really good stories. Not every guy's like
course,
that.
of
Yeah,
course.
There's
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no doubt. Like there are some amazing stories.
Yeah.
And that's what the Premier Lacrosse League is doing right now.
It's
Is, like,
highlighting.
is sinking into the really.
But it's
good.
harder. I mean,
It's
like the
sinking into
NBA,
story.
like how I don't know what percentage of those guys like had tough childhoods, get out of a
Totally,
bad
yeah.
situation, put their mom in a mansion, like the most beautiful story ever that everyone wants to connect to.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen like in
No.
crew.
It's like
No,
can
no,
the,
no, it doesn't.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like can
They-
the
in
American
crew-
dream happen?
yeah,
crew
yeah.
or-
Well, the
or-
American dream's already happened if
Right.
you're playing crew or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
lacrosse,
or
or whatever, you know what I
lacrosse,
mean?
yeah,
Is what the
typically.
stereotype is.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and that's really hard to storytell around. Boxing has done a great job, and those guys really like a lot of them. They came out of nothing,
Yeah.
and so you're like, damn, you really need if you don't win,
What else do you
What-
have?
what do you
Yeah,
do?
Like this is it.
this is it.
This
And-
is literally it.
And that like stakes that's the the pinnacle of storytelling is stakes.
Yeah, that's every show. That's not just sports. That's
yeah.
like Queer Eye. Yeah, every person on the show. It's like if they don't do this now, with these guys, it's over.
Yeah,
that's
they're getting a divorce. They're getting
it's over.
Yeah, it's over.
They need to do that. They need to do Queer Eye, but like with boxers. That'd be perfect. Like Floyd Mayweather on the come up. It's like, dude, we're gonna turn you into a star.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
You're gonna be, your nails are gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild. I think that's what you guys need to do. You got to go like around the world, find some at-risk youth, and then put some lacrosse sticks in their hand and get a story going. You know what I mean? Be like, let's go, baby. Let's score some goals.
It's a good headline. Colin and Samir are traveling the globe looking for at-risk youth.
Yeah. Remember they did that with what was that show? The kid that played for the Pirates, $1 Million Arm. They went out to India and they found cricket players.
That's
and
right.
They're like, hey, we're gonna bring you to America to play baseball, and they made a movie out of it.
Yeah,
that could be.
Whatever happened to the big Indian basketball player?
He died.
No,
I don't know.
Oh, I was like, oh my god! What?
I made that up, dude. Wait, I don't even know which one you're talking about.
I don't know where he is, but there's
Vice made a piece about him.
He did.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm. R.I.P. Vice.
How long did he play for? Vice died. That's what
how
I
many
meant to
times
say.
can we R.I.P. Vice?
Vice died. That's what it is. Yeah, my bad.
That's who died.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. What do you guys think of that? Like Vice being this like haven for like cool subculture news to then just kind of going bankrupt and
I think it's the same story as BuzzFeed. Like I think it's the inevitability of people getting tired of a media brand. Like people follow people. People are interesting. You know, like as your show continues to grow and you change your show, people are going to be into it because they're into you. As we grow and we change, people will be into it who are into us. Now, if we take on a bunch of overhead and you start not being able to move around and be nimble and change, you immediately become stale and mediocre and you can't compete. Vice can't compete with like someone like Eric, and they're not in the same category, but just
in terms of eyeballs.
Yeah, or Johnny Harris. Like they can't compete because you have an individual, and people are more interested in human beings, right, than brands. So you have an individual who doesn't have as much overhead, has no investors, can pivot at any moment, can change with the algorithms. You can't compete with that.
Also, if you start making too much stuff that's only being made because like Hennessy whatever is sponsoring it or whoever, it's bad stuff. Like it's only made to exist because a sponsor paid for it.
I think
because someone sold it.
Media
if you make too much of that, people start to care less.
Media companies are kind of like built to become mediocre because you start with something cool, right? And then people are really into it because it's cool, and you get a ton of advertising opportunities. And then you just say yes to all of them, and you make a watered down version of what you used to make because you have to make so much of it, and you have to appease the sponsors, right? And then you're also looking at performance. So you're, instead of saying like what would be cool, you're looking at what would work. And so there's like this inevitability of like stripping out the innovation and creativity. And then you get to a point where, like we talked about, you have something to lose because Vice is something.
Yeah.
And if they take risks in the wrong direction, Vice could go bankrupt.
Yeah. When you work your whole life to get everything you ever wanted, all you can think about is losing it.
Yes.
And that fear of losing it is so crippling. Do you think that Vice's content strategy has affected their, it seemed to me at least that they were pushing for a new market share, that like they were existing in like this sort of niche, like, you know, countercultural sort of like subversive media space, and then progressively kind of got a little bit more broad and tried to like bring in more people and got like a little bit more like moderate in a way. And at least to me, like, again, I'm not a diehard, but that just seems like what their content was doing. And in the pursuit of trying to get everyone, it seemed like they kind of lost everyone, at least to me.
Yeah, that's probably right. And also the business of being niche is very different from the business of being mass. And they probably had to get into a space where they had to be mass, right? And so that's, again, it's like when you raise money as a media company or you have just a lot of overhead, it's very hard to remain cool because the pressure is different. So I just think that that's like an inevitable future for media companies.
That's interesting because I sometimes feel the opposite way, where I feel like media companies have almost always an advantage over the individual. Because I can only make so many podcasts in a week, but if you are a podcast media company, you can make 5 podcasts a day. Like you could, like your ability to create with frequency and have multiple talent under the umbrella can grow.
Yeah, I think access to talent is a big advantage. Yeah, like Barstool can flip up a show, and all of a sudden, like Dave is on it, right?
Yeah,
like talking about his show, or like they have like big celebrities sometimes who are just within episode 2.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like, damn. Like that's a competitive advantage.
They're unique, and I think they're like they operate like a startup creator
Still.
in every version. I was watching one of their episodes. Have you watched the show, the BFFs show with Josh Richards?
Oh, yeah. In Portnoy?
In Portnoy, he's funny on it. And there's a moment in the show where he's trying to fix his webcam for almost 4.5 minutes. And nothing is being talked about, but he's just pissed that his webcam's not working.
Yeah.
And it's entertaining. And I think that's such an X factor that they have, like, you know, with him. But yeah, they're kind of an outlier right
They
now.
operate a little more like creators. Like that moment, right, of him trying to fix his webcam for 4 minutes. Any other media company, that's cut.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys on the Schultz like flagrant episode with Noel Miller, the first like 25 minutes is pressing him on his race.
Yeah.
It's absurd. I was listening. I'm like, it's still going.
That was really funny.
10 more minutes. It's still going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like any media company.
We were going to get to the bottom of it.
Any media company with
That
a
was
sponsor on that.
so funny.
Yeah.
You know, is like,
Yeah, we can't.
no,
do this.
we
Yeah,
can't.
It's insane.
We just can't start an episode that way.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like you're able to make decisions that actually are better for the audience because they're more you.
Right.
And media companies just can't always do that.
Noel Miller is like a savant to me. Like sitting with him, I was like, this dude is so funny and so sharp.
Yeah.
And then the
It's
fact that him
unbelievable.
and Cody can make music, the way they do
Yeah.
is so crazy to me.
No, Noel is like a real like creative force.
Yeah.
Like in
Yes.
terms
Yeah.
of like, I do production. I
He
can
can
make
direct.
videos.
He
I
can-
can edit. I
yeah.
can do music. I can do stand up. I mean, it's like Donald Glover
Yes.
levels
Yeah.
of
Yes.
like brilliance.
I totally
But yeah,
agree.
his slowness sometimes and his delivery is like Chappelle. Like his heartbeat must be so
resting, yeah.
his resting heart rate is just must be so low.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
love that.
and he's had, especially for comics. I don't even know if people like knowledge this, but like coming up in the space and in the way that he came up, when people look at it as so easy because they're like, oh, you got this audience automatically handed to you, like that's the dream. But it's in a way a lot harder to try to cut your teeth as a comic because it
Yeah.
requires so much repetition, and ideally you're going up in front of like neutral people that will give you honest feedback. But he's going up in front of like his fans, and in spite of that has still become a great comic.
Yeah.
Like, and that is really hard to do. To already have an audience while trying to do stand up is
Yeah.
like nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Like we've seen it with all these like TikTok guys, Vine guys that have these big audiences and they go, oh, how do I monetize?
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
do a
yeah,
live
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
And I'll just do stand up because how hard is that? And I'm funny on the internet, so therefore I'll be funny here. And it does not translate. And Noel, because he's a legit comic, like even before he was making content, has been able to usher in and do like a great live show.
I would
But,
love to see his live show. I've
Dude,
never
it's great.
seen any of it.
Yeah, we got invited in LA, but we couldn't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you should check it
I
out.
would have loved to go.
Yeah, but it's hard when you already have that built-in audience. Like imagine the first video you ever posted. There's like 500,000 people, 1 million people just like waiting.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I'm never gonna do anything. Like,
Totally, that's too
how
much
can you live
pressure.
up to the expectation?
Yeah.
it's
How was performing at Mothership, by the way?
Dude, it's awesome. It's
Like,
so cool.
I wanted to hear about that experience because that, like, I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. I
Yeah.
think stand-up comedy is like, Schultz said it on our show, and I think about it all the time. He talked about like stand-up is risk. Like what makes it interesting is the risk of it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you're standing up there and you're going to say something vulnerable to all these people. Like,
Yeah.
And I think just getting the experience of doing live speaking more now, where a lot of our stuff is like written by someone else, or at least we're workshopping with a writer. And but sometimes you'll say something that is supposed to be funny and no one laughs. And it's I'm so glad we have that experience now. That is such an important experience as a creator or entertainer or performer. And then also the inverse experience where you say something that's off the dome or off the cuff and people do react, clap, laugh, whatever.
Yeah.
That live feedback is like, I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
it's-
that's one of the most important things as a creator.
It's a wild feeling. I mean, just stand up in general. But the Mothership as a space is so cool. I mean, it's really remarkable what Rogan did. And I always talk about Joe, like, you know, obviously he's a podcaster, but in a lot of ways he's a YouTuber. And like,
Dude, he's
I don't
totally a YouTuber.
think
Yeah.
people ever
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
acknowledge that. I don't know if he would. I don't know if he would take that as offensive, but I'm like, no, you're a YouTuber. And on top of being a YouTuber, he's also like a live streamer. Like
Yeah,
the majority
absolutely.
of his videos, I think we even talked about this last time you
did,
guys were
yeah.
here. The majority of his videos that he did from like 2000, I mean, his first videos were on Ustream. Like it wasn't even on YouTube. It was just on a live streaming website. And then all the way up until like 2018, 2019, they were all live. Like he was literally like the OG live streamer. Like, and people don't realize that. Like when Elon Musk came on his show and smoked weed,
Yeah.
the stock price was falling in real time.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah.
live on air, and people have a disconnect from that. They're like, oh no, he's like the OG live streamer. And so from him to go to like this niche live streamer to then creating an entire comedy subculture in a city is like unbelievable. And to witness it and to go there. I mean, every show is sold out for the next, I don't even know however many months.
That's
like
crazy.
They have 2 rooms going at all times. All the people, comics and staff, are getting paid like insane money. Like the club, to my understanding, is like a break-even club. Like it's not going to make money.
That's cool.
This is Joe's way of like redistributing his wealth that he got
Mm-hmm.
to like comics and artists and creators.
That's cool.
And everyone in the audience is like excited and they're so happy to be there. There's no phones. So like everyone's in like those Sonder bags. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
And so like the audience is just like
It's kind
chatting.
of bother me.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I like the concept of them.
Yeah.
But I wish the mechanism was less clunky.
Really?
There's something that bothers me about it.
I look at the mechanism. I'm like, this is perfect. Like
Yeah,
you keep your
I don't know.
phone.
Yeah.
It's a magnet. There's no
Yeah.
technology even involved. It can't fail.
Yeah.
I'm like, as far as technology goes, I'm like, pretty solid.
I just like don't like what it says about me. Like when I do it, I'm like,
Maybe that's it.
am I that addicted? Am I so insane?
Yes,
that these
we all are.
Yeah, that like they have to put it in a
The
straitjacket.
answer is yes.
Is yes, yeah.
So maybe that's what it is. I just get bothered.
Yeah, I
that
don't
I'm
think you like what it
restricted.
says about you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a junkie
The
for
impulse
this.
is crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
The
But-
impulse of like any given void, any moment, you know?
Yeah.
is just
I'm
like-
bored. Oh no, I'm bored.
Not
Thanks for
even-
making me
not
bored.
even I'm bored. It's just I have a second. You know,
Yeah.
I have a second right now.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of this, I was watching this video, heard this story. Something happened recently where a bus driver full of kids, they're driving and the bus driver starts to have a seizure.
Oh,
Did you hear about this?
saw it.
Okay, bus driver starts to have a seizure. Young kids, like 11, 12, whatever. One kid in the front realizes what's happening, gets up, puts his foot on the brake, saves the entire bus. They're swerving across the road. They do interviews with all the kids afterwards. That kid who put his foot on the brakes doesn't have a cell phone. He's the only kid on the bus. His parents wouldn't let him have a cell phone. Every other kid was like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize what was happening. I was on my phone.
Whoa, dude.
Insane.
That's insane.
Like,
that's crazy.
Bro. And he probably got bullied for having a phone or for not having a phone.
yeah, he probably got bullied for it. And even in the
And
interview,
he was thinking
even in
right
the interview,
there.
he would, like the interviewer was like, "Isn't it great? You know, your parents didn't give you a phone, type of thing." And he was kind of like, "No,
No, I would have much rather
it's like-
died on TikTok.
He was just
Like-
kind of like, you could tell he was bummed about being the odd one out.
Yeah.
But think about what we're giving up, like just general situational awareness.
Literally.
What
Yes.
are the chances actually in 2023 that a kid didn't have a phone?
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
The one kid.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's insane.
Crazy.
And then on top of that, like you think, I bet you he was sitting there being like, should I just let this thing go off a cliff? Like, fuck all these motherfuckers. Like they've been bullying me for 6 months about not having a phone. Oh, who doesn't have a phone now? But instead, he did the right
also
thing.
that he knew like to hit the brake. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
yeah,
That's
like
there's a
something
lot of-
obviously
there's a
deep
lot of
within
stuff
him.
there. Yeah.
Understand
a lot of-
myself. Would I understand what
Yeah.
to do?
Oh no, I would have had a seizure too. I would have seen it and be like, oh fuck, here we go. Just
Yeah.
fucking collapsed.
I would have been on my phone.
Yeah. What if the bus driver was on his phone? That's what caused it. He was like, dude, everything's the phone. I mean, there's probably there's probably a statistic like how many deaths happen a year from people on their phones crossing the street. I mean, do you do that if someone's walking towards you on their phone? Do you get out of the way?
Yeah.
I stopped doing that.
You
I'm
just,
done with
you'll
it.
just run
I'll
into
just stand there. Like if you're on your phone and you really aren't looking, I'll just
Yeah.
stand there and have you kind of like get close to me and be like, oh, sorry. It bugs me.
You know,
I
I
think
don't
that's the
really
right
know.
thing to do.
I appreciate
It's annoying.
I appreciate very much the law that you can't be on your phone in a car, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're driving, of course, right? But the other day I was driving and I got to a red light and I wanted to change what I was listening to. And I pulled up my phone at the red light and start messing with Spotify and I get a really angry knock on my window from a cop on a bike. And he was like, you want me to give you a ticket right now? And I was like, I didn't know how to react because I was like, he was like, and then he said, take your phone and throw it in your trunk in front of me right now. And I was like, okay. And I like unplugged it and I threw it. And then he was like, next time I'm giving you a ticket. And I was like, I didn't want to like question him because he was a very angry guy.
Yeah, he's on a bike.
Yeah,
he's not
he was on
happy
a
about his life.
motorcycle. Yeah. So I,
You're his big catch for the day.
He's like, here we go.
but right after that situation, he sped off. I pulled over, went into my trunk, got the phone, and
immediately.
then
Yeah.
picked my podcast and put it in.
Yeah,
I was like,
he also didn't speed off. He went in
yeah.
third gear.
Yeah,
he
that's
was
right.
biked off
Yeah.
slowly.
You think that's less effective than him kind of just knocking on the door and saying, hey,
definitely.
like,
less
would you
effective.
mind putting your phone down? You just can't. Less
definitely.
effective, right?
But I figured the rule is like if you're at a red light, you can pull out the phone, right?
Yeah, that seems completely
Yeah,
reasonable.
that seems
That seems
fair.
reasonable.
Yeah. I don't get most of these like car rules though. Like it's like, oh, you're allowed to have. What was the thing they used to tell us in college? They'd be like, okay, you're allowed to have alcohol in the car if it's 2 moves away.
Right. Was that right?
That's what the rule was,
that
right?
Might be
It's
a
like
Florida law. Yeah, that's a Florida law.
Is that a
Florida
gun?
thing.
Am I thinking of a gun?
Well, that's
I don't remember.
Wait, 2 moves away?
It's something like that, where like you're allowed
Like
to
a
have
chess
alcohol
move?
if it's like behind you. So you have to like undo your seatbelt and turn around.
Got it.
Or maybe I'm thinking of a gun and I cannot remember which one it is.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think it's the same rule though.
Neither
never
rules
heard this-
applied. Yeah,
this
or-
2-move rule.
Yeah. But I think a 2-move rule is like if it's in your glove box. That way it's like
1 move.
Yeah.
Is it 5 moves?
That's
How many
one
moves
move,
is
man.
it, dude? I can't
What do
remember.
we consider a move?
I don't know. I'm driving with a gun up to my head. I don't even know what's going on. I'm like, if I'm in traffic for 1 more minute, it's over. I mean, yeah, that's wild. I don't like when cops are overly confrontational like that. You're like, be a little reasonable. Like, I'm
Yeah.
at a red light.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't need you like banging on my window with this
Yeah,
intensity.
yeah.
Like, especially like he said, I'm gonna get you next time.
Yeah.
Like he's like a Scooby-Doo villain.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what does that even mean?
It kind of did freak me out though. I think about it all the time now.
What, you
when
think
I'm
he's
driving.
following
yeah.
you?
Yeah, I just think about it all the time. I'm like,
Just
that could
any
happen.
moment.
Yeah, that could happen.
Just check your back seat.
But I also
So
think
maybe
that
it did work,
It
yeah.
has to do with like, you know, and I'm curious, you guys, like, when do you decide to give up on a podcast episode?
Whoa.
Because that's what I was doing in the moment. I was like,
You had just given up on an
I was like,
episode?
I'm done with this episode. I'm going to move to a totally
Wow.
different
So it's
pod.
really their fault.
Yeah, it's
Do you
really.
want to say which podcast?
Yeah, do you want to
it is?
out?
I
the
think
episode?
I think it might have been Smartless.
Wow,
yeah, it might have been
dude.
Smartless. And I
Dude,
like
Jason Bateman is a
Yeah.
huge fan of this show.
Yeah,
He listens to this a lot, and he's gonna be crushed to
yeah,
hear that.
but he knows
Jason,
that.
look, I finish every episode, man.
I listen to
I don't care
ads.
if a
Yeah, I
copy's
listen to
knocking on
ads,
my
dude.
door.
I do listen to the ads. I like the way they do their ads on that show. But JB knows, like some episodes are better than others. You know?
Yeah.
And when you're guest dependent, whenever they're doing too much, I know they're not happy with the guest. You know, like the 3 of them when they're really hamming it up.
Interesting.
They're like, okay, the guest is not playing into this. Like, you know, the
You can
chemistry's
just
off.
tell.
Yeah.
Were you like an Arrested Development guy? Did you like that show?
I haven't watched all of it, but I love that show. Yeah.
So what is up with
Yeah.
you and just
Yeah.
quitting on Jason Bateman? Like you
You know what?
right? Like
It's
what
a
is
good
wrong with
question.
you?
Between you and Jason Bateman.
Yeah,
this
you got to
might-
call him and
Yeah,
just figure
might be
this out.
between me and JB, but
It's kind of
yeah.
rude, dude.
Yeah,
You just
that is
quit.
rude. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm
Yeah.
good at I'll never quit a pod, or like if I'm listening to a show, I'll know based on like the first 2 minutes if I'm in or out. And then I just won't revisit it if I'm like halfway.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll like get to wherever I'm going, turn it off. And if
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
then you won't
thinking about it
revisit-
during
yes,
the day,
yes.
being like, what did David Fravor see when he was flying that Navy jet and saw the Tic Tac UFO?
Yeah.
That, if I'm not thinking that, then I know it's not for me.
Yeah.
And I finished every podcast that he talks about that Tic Tac UFO. I've listened to all of them. I'm like, I'm hooked. Like he talked to Lex about it. He talked to Rogan about it. What do you guys think?
Everyone.
What do you guys think?
I knew this was leading here.
It always does. It always does. I just talked to a guy that got abducted by aliens, so it's like it's in my head
So you're-
nonstop.
yeah.
But what do you think? Aliens? Yes or no?
Also, that's what the show is about, right? Aliens?
Yeah. At the end of
Yeah,
the day.
abduction?
Yeah. I mean, what are you talking about at camp, dude?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's true.
Right?
That
That's
is
like-
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I used to do camp, I definitely talked about aliens a lot. I don't think there's any possible way we're the only ones. That's what I'll say. Like that seems like an absurd concept to me.
Statistically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we could be just like whenever someone describes to me the universe, I'm like, okay, that's like a very overwhelming thought.
Dude.
And the fact that we're like, yeah, so, and it's just us.
Yeah.
That seems crazy. So I don't know what it looks like, but I think it's a crazy thought to think.
I also
that it's
think
just us.
abduction is totally understable.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, honestly, okay.
Well, you don't have to one up him
Yeah,
every
yeah,
time,
yeah,
dude.
just
Jeez. You're better at lacrosse, dude. We get it. Like, chill out, dude.
I'm just saying, like, think about it. Like, if
Clip Colin on that too. Yeah. Abduction is completely understandable.
Not on Earth, but like if let's get into this. If humans found an alien species and felt like we had found them before they had found us, with the history of the human, don't you think that if we had the ability to abduct one to learn more about them,
Yeah.
we would probably do it? And I'm
Yes.
not saying we like Americans, like maybe who knows, like someone somewhere
I think I would be the
would take it
worst.
into their hands.
You find a tortoise in the Galapagos and you're like, we're going to take you, put a tracker on you,
Yeah.
like observe you, and then come back and
Think
see you
about
every
how
couple
we
months.
study
Throw
animals.
an air tag
Yeah.
on him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Literally air tag 'em.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
That's what it is.
yeah.
So,
And I think humans might be like, yeah, we should probably check it out.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Like collectively, the human race would probably be like, yeah, we won't harm them, but we should probably take one.
But take a look. That's what this guy Jay was saying. He was like, I believe that I've been tracked. I'm like being tagged by extraterrestrials, by unknown beings, and they come and visit me every few months to like check out what's going on, look at my form, check my body out. And he even said something, I think he said on the episode, that was blowing my mind. He was like, it is human-centric of us to believe that the aliens want to talk to us.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's narcissistic in itself, right?
How crazy is that? What if they're here to talk to like the dolphins?
Yeah, totally.
Why? Like, what if they're going to talk to someone else? Who knows?
Totally.
They can interface with dogs or something.
We assume we're the important ones.
Yeah, and the dogs are in on it.
So
That's
interesting.
crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you don't think they're coming to Earth, though?
You know what, man? I have no idea, and I'm open to all the opportunities and things that could happen.
I'm the interstellar
Yeah,
opportunity.
I don't. Yeah, I guess opportunity is the wrong word. I'm just open to all the possibilities. Like I'm very confident that I know very little.
Yeah.
You know, and that is my confidence level. And like I'm just like this is all crazy, right? Like the fact that
Now we're talking, dude. This is a mushroom talk. That's what I was saying.
Okay. So, like you think about this is gonna get pretty
No,
wild.
but yeah,
so just everyone
I am mushrooms.
buckle up.
Yeah.
Like the concept that an apple grows, like you put a seed in the ground and all of a sudden like this thing grows and then you can grab it and eat it and it tastes good.
What is
That's a strange concept.
What is that?
And if you settle into that concept, then there's like strawberries and then there's some that you can't eat. And it's like such a strange concept that you have to then go, well, I don't know, man. I guess like what is this magical place?
That's the only answer that I like. I'm like averse to certainty. If someone's too certain about something, I'm like, how do you know that?
I think also enough just like wild things have happened in my life to know that like I don't know, like you there's a lot of obscurity to this.
Yeah.
And there's no certainty. It's crazy to be certain.
Yeah, there's bizarre, like, I mean, the whole, like, I was just in Costa Rica recently, visiting, like, my wife's extended family. And we go out into the middle of the jungle, like the rainforest. We're looking up at the sky, and I'm like, oh, I never see stars. Like, I grew up in Orlando, didn't really see a ton of stars growing up. Sometimes I see them camping when I was, like, a kid. Sometimes I see them camping now. But even now, you camp in New York, you go upstate, it's still kind of, like, not great visibility.
Sure.
We go out in the middle of the jungle, you can see every constellation, perfect visibility. And you're just looking at it, and you're like, what is that, dude? Like, all of that, like, I was like, dude, if you were to go to the moon, you'd be like, oh, you're in space. And I was like, the surface of the moon is just as much space as the surface that I'm on right now. We're technically in space. I was like, what is going on here? And then I was like,
down that path,
how did water even get here? That's something that
that
Jay was saying. He's like, dude, if you look at Earth, it has so many resources that are so unique in the universe, or like at least in our galaxy, where he's like water is everywhere. Like we're made of water, like water is whatever. It's not, you can't find it for 100 million miles.
I'm so excited.
What even is that?
I'm so excited for
Right?
the
What's going on, dude?
the audience members who come to the show being like, oh, Colin and Samir, I'll probably learn
Let's
something
get into
about
the creator economy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, how about the main creator? You know what I'm saying? Shout out God.
The one creator.
Yeah, the OG creator.
How it all happened.
That's what you guys got to do. Have a religious heel turn and be like, hey, welcome to the creator economy. Open your Bibles and just go deep into it, dude. That would be awesome. I mean, it really is crazy, though.
I do think having that mentality is important to be like a podcaster or someone who interviews people, because like you have to be inherently curious and believe, like be open to your beliefs being challenged, you know, but to have long, curious conversations with people, you have to be very open.
Yeah, it's hard to have a convo where someone's like, you know, I believe this, and the guy's just like, nah. I think you're dumb for that, actually.
Yeah. But then it also is interesting on a talk show when two people have opposing views and they back them up. Like that's also an interesting.
Yeah, only when you think about it though. Like if you've like been really self-reflective.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes am blown away at how little self-reflection other people do.
Sure.
Like I just assume everyone's overthinking every decision they make.
Right.
And then I meet someone that's not overthinking anything and they don't really think about anything. And I'm like, what are you doing all day? Like you don't even have a phone. You're just like
really happy.
dude.
But
like,
that's like the plight of being a creative too. I think like being a creative, you end up just being very self-reflective.
Yeah, self-awareness is your superpower, but also like what brings you down.
Yeah, nonstop. What's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because I got to tell you about the greatest vases in the game. Yes, this right here, this vase by Freeze Pipe. I'm sure you're thinking, Mark, that doesn't really look like a vase. Well, it is. Mark, I think that's what we used to have on our table in college. No. This is a beautiful vase, as you can see. These vases from Freeze Pipe are very significant because some vases, you know, there's flour in it, you smell the flour, and it's full of hot air. And all that hot air gets into your nose and lungs, and it makes you cough, and it makes your throat burn. I hate those vases. Those vases are the worst. You're breathing in all of this hot air and smoke. It's the worst. It's smog going into your throat. But with this Freeze Pipe vase, this vase is cool. Because you take this glycerin chamber right here, you put it in the freezer for 1 hour, and it'll cool the air in the vase down by 300 degrees. That's right. So when you go to sniff the flour, You're not getting hot air from the city. You're not getting smoke and smog going in your lungs and throat, making you cough. No. You're getting a nice, cool whiff of roses. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, Mark, these vases must be real expensive. That's where you're wrong. When you use the promo code Gagnon at thefreezepipe.com, you can get 10% off your entire order. That's right. You can go to thefreezepipe.com and use the promo code GAGNON, and you can get a vase just like this. Buy one for your mom for Mother's Day. Maybe your dad for Father's Day. Buy one for yourself. Maybe just to, meditate. Smell the roses. Who knows what you want to use it for? But all I know is that these freeze pipe vases are the best vases in the game. So get yours today, thefreezepipe.com. Use the promo code Gagnon for 10% off your entire order and say goodbye to harsh flower smoke forever. Let's get back to the show. What's up, guys? We got to take a break really quick because you need an attorney, and so do I. This is a real thing that happened to me the other day. I let someone else take my electric bike. I ride around New York all the time. I take the electric bike over the Williamsburg Bridge. It's a very steep bridge. And yesterday, I had to take a city bike. I took a real city bike, not even an electric one. I took a regular old city bike, pedaling up this steep bridge. It's insane. Pulled a muscle in my calf. I got to sue the state of New York City. Is that a state or is it a city? Who knows? I got to sue them, though. I got to do something about it. You know who I could talk to? I could talk to Morgan & Morgan. They might not take the case. Maybe. It's hard to sue a bridge. But maybe something like this happened to you. Maybe something more serious. Maybe you got in a car accident. Maybe you got rear-ended. Maybe you had a slip and fall. And if that happened to you, you could check out Morgan & Morgan. The reason I say that is because Morgan & Morgan is one of the most trusted personal injury law firms in the entire country. Not only the most trusted, they're the biggest. They have over 800 lawyers and 100 offices nationwide. And this is the crazy thing about Morgan & Morgan. It's so easy to submit a claim. 8 clicks or less. You go to their website, 8 clicks or less, and you can submit your claim, whatever happened to you. Slip and fall, rear-ended, anything. Submit a claim. That's all it takes. Now I'm sure you're thinking, okay, if it's so easy and they're so trusted, it's going to cost an arm and a leg. Hey, it doesn't. Because they don't charge you anything unless they win your case. That's right. Their fee is free unless they win. So if this is interesting to you, you could check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, you can go to forthepeople.com/Gagnon. That's correct. For the people, FOR, thepeople.com/Gagnon, Gagnon, or dial pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. That's for the people, FOR, thepeople.com/Gagnon, Gagnon, or dial pound law, pound 529 from your cell phone. Rear-ended, slip and fall, biking up a steep bridge. You could check out Morgan & Morgan if you wanted to. Now, let's get back to the show. But speaking of things in your life that have been unique or sort of like interesting coincidences, you ever see a ghost?
Maybe.
You ever have a creepy thing happen to you where you're like, dude, there's no way that this can be just an accident?
Yes. My wife and I live in a house right now where someone passed. Yeah. And
so question, is the episode starting right now?
Yes, dude.
Got it.
Welcome to the show.
We'll get into everything we just did.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
This is such a, what a cool opportunity to talk about just stuff we would never talk about anywhere else. Sometimes we'll go to bed and we'll have like turned off a light and we'll wake up in the morning and like that light will be on and like there will be like another kind of strange thing and we'll hear. There's one day where like there's a chime that happens when a window opens, when there's movement in the house. Mm-hmm. So there's like a chime that happens, and when we turn the alarm on, and we were laying in bed and the chime happened, and we were like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Okay, I better go check this out and look." And I went outside, and we have a light in my closet that can only get turned on from a button inside the closet. And the closet was illuminated and I hadn't been in that room that day. And the chime went off and I looked over and I was like, the closet light's on. And I was like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what that means. So I just opened the door, turned off the light, went back to bed. But that's happened a couple times where like we'll hear the chime and then something will be like kind of different. Yeah. Who knows? Also could just be someone in my house. But
Hope to God.
Yeah.
You're like, I hope there's just a homeless guy living there.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know, man.
How weird, though.
Yeah,
I mean, how do you feel walking back to the bed, just being like, okay, what am I going to tell my girl? Just like, oh, it was nothing.
I think her and I are pretty, like, woo-woo, Yeah. So we're just kind of like, oh, who knows?
A friendly spirit.
Yeah.
Don't you hate gender roles, though?
What do you mean?
That you're laying in bed and you're like, are you gonna go? And she's
Well,
like, no, you're
yeah,
supposed to go.
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
fine, I'll
Yeah.
fucking go do it.
I think that comes up a lot with spiders in our house, where she's the spider killer.
I kill
really?
so many spiders, man.
Oh, really? You got
Yeah.
a girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a fiance.
Damn. Oh, I was checking for the
No,
ring.
no ring yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't like that. That's another gender thing that I don't like.
That you don't get a ring.
Yeah,
You
right away.
propose.
Yeah.
We both get rings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
that's right.
I'm still in this like limbo.
Yeah, right. Like,
Yeah.
what even is this?
What
like,
even is exactly?
Like,
Yeah.
you're engaged to whom?
Yeah,
Like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Just like an amorphous
right.
human being.
Yeah.
Like, all you do all day is
It's
just
so
flip
strange.
switches in his house. Like, like you don't even have a purpose other than.
I'll go out.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Just
as soon as you
messing
have
with me.
a-
It's just a big, it's a long prank.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that up until the day I get married.
Oh yeah,
You know?
exactly.
And then it's over.
And then you get married, and you're like, all right, I gotta
okay.
be serious now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So she does all the spiders, and then you do all the ghosts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Are you, when you say woo woo, are you like low key, like vaguely spiritual? Or you're like, yeah, there's something's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Dude, fucking same. That's what it is. I grew up like hella Catholic.
Oh,
so,
interesting, yeah.
Like deeply. Like
Okay.
I still got my scapular on. Shout out to my Catholics. But literally, I like grew up like going to Bible study all the time, and then now it's kind of like morphed.
That was short hair, Mark.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it.
That was
Yeah.
short hair me back in the ball pit days.
Dude, short hair ball pit Mark is a different human being.
Have you guys seen those videos? By the way,
Yeah, I have.
I haven't.
That's so funny.
I have, and I was like, I was watching that video, and I was like, so where's Mark? And then I paused it, and I was like, wait, that's Mark?
Mark's in my house the whole time. Look at you. Look in the mirror. You're like, I'm Mark. Like, dude, what an acid
I'm
trip.
pretty woo woo, man. That's a possibility. Yeah. I'm
We're
open to
all
that.
one,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, no, that was a weird time. That was like literally, I was interning at the Laugh Factory in LA, and I was just uploading all of their stand-up stuff. I like kind of started their Instagram page.
Oh, interesting.
And I like kind of was getting their Facebook pop, and they had a good YouTube presence at the time. And so I was just like posting all their content. And I was kind of learning like, oh, here's how you title something to go viral.
Yeah.
Here's how you like edit it to make
Oh,
it like pop.
interesting.
And I just had like a backlog of all this content that I loved. I was so obsessed with stand-up, still am. And I was able just to like play with it. And they were just like, do whatever you want. And so I was just uploading it all day. Just like,
Yeah.
this hit, this didn't hit, reload this. Dude, one time there was a guy that has like a racial joke. This is a very embarrassing story that I've never told. There's a comic that like went up at the Laugh Factory and had like a racial joke, but it's not like offensive. It's like him and a black guy doing like a sketch, and it's like it's racial, right?
Okay.
And it's funny in 99% of context. And then I posted it on one day, and it's killing, like doing crazy views, just like going insane. And then I get a call from like the manager lady of the intern pro. She's like, Mark, did you upload that sketch to Facebook? And I was like, yeah, it's killing. It's got like 5 million views. It's going crazy. She's like, have you read the comments? And I was like, no. And I go through the comments, and it was on the day of like cops shooting another guy.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh no. And she was like, delete it now. And I was like, okay, I'll delete it. And I thought my job was over. I thought that was going to be it. I uploaded it. It was like a PR nightmare. And I thought it was like over. And then the next day, nothing happened. So I was like,
all right.
and then just kept on uploading. And then that was the whole summer. And then I came home, and I was like, okay, how do I go viral? I was like, I feel like I know the tools. I have like all the pieces. So I like looked up like Harvard articles about like articles that went viral on LinkedIn, and like
Interesting.
what were like the hallmarks and through lines of those things. And it was like, okay, don't be confined to language, be colorful, have an arc, be under 3 minutes at the time on Facebook, format it as a square, like saturate it, subtitle it, all that stuff. So I was like, okay, what is like a positive? Oh, and be positive. So I was like, okay, I have all these balls from the college that I was going to. They had just like this giant like ball pit thing that they had like underneath the school that they would use for like events like rally days or whatever. Pep rally days. Rally days is a very different thing that they would do at my school. That's when they would get all the Trump supporters together. No,
Got it.
No, they were literally like, okay, pep rally days. They bring the ball pits out. So I like bought an above ground pool, bought all these like colored balls, went downtown Orlando, dumped them all in, and then made that video. And
Yeah.
then the first week that it went up, it was like 1 million views.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now it's at like 26 million.
Wow. On Facebook? Or
Yeah,
Oh,
on
wow.
Facebook.
Crazy.
And that was the first video I ever posted. And I was like, sick.
That was interesting. That video has a lot of like kind of like Yes Theory-esque to it. It has
Yeah,
this
and I
like
wasn't even
feel
aware
good-
of those guys at the time.
It has this like feel good feel.
Yeah.
The don't be confined to language as rule number 1 is so important.
Yeah, I mean that's Kabi Lame, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
dude. Like every video, you can be anywhere in the world and understand it.
Yeah.
But the issue with that content is that it was like doing really well, and I did a series of them. I did videos for like Soul Pancake, which is like
Yeah.
Rainn
Yeah,
Wilson's
yeah.
company,
Yeah.
and like it was awesome. Like I screwed that deal up too. I was so dumb.
What'd you post?
I was like, no, the posting was fine. But I was like 20 years old and they were like, okay, Mark, you're doing these videos. Great job. These are cool. How about we pay you to make us 4 videos? And I was like, boom, let's do it. And they're like, how much is it going to cost per video? And I was like, I'm going to milk these guys. I'm going to really just fucking squeeze them for everything they got.
Okay.
$500 a video.
Okay. Got it.
And they were like, you're going to need probably $3,000 a video. So we'll just give you that. And I was like, wow. I really thought I was like doing big business. And I was like, I'm going to rinse them. And
CC'd Garrett and everything.
Yeah. Talk to the board.
I had Garrett. I talked to the board.
Guys, the best we can do is 500 a video.
Dude.
All right, take it or leave it.
Oh my gosh. I was such an idiot. And I thought that was going to be like me, like on a like highway robbery. But no, those videos were great. But the issue is that then I was doing stand-up, which is like more authentic to who I am. And then this content was less authentic, but really cool and like a part of who I was. Like I like making people happy. I like making like fun content that everyone can get on board with. But then people from the like the videos were coming to see me do stand-up and they were like, oh, this is different. And I was like, yeah, it is different. And so I had to make a choice like, okay, do I go this route, which is working and making money, or do I go the stand-up route, which is not really making money, but is what I really love?
Got it.
And then I kind of just like stopped doing that content.
Yeah.
And it was really tough because I was like, I put in all this time and effort and I've made it work and like millions of views and I'm just kind of leaving it.
Comedy's hard, man. Stand-up, I
so much more fun.
I have some
though.
friends who
Yeah, that's such like an
pursuing
identity
comedy.
decision.
Yeah.
Right?
It really was.
Yeah. It's and I go to the shows and they're very funny. And you just recognize like it's to really do it is extremely hard. Like I have a lot of respect for people who do stand-up comedy.
Yeah. No, it's a specific type of mental illness, but it's good though. It is good.
Yeah, because
It does feel like a unique club.
it is so irrational
yeah.
to like just to think, to lay in bed at night and be like, I'm gonna do this and that's gonna be my career.
Yeah.
is one of the most irrational things.
Really?
I think so. I think it's like, and I'm not saying that it's irrational to be that passionate about it. I'm just saying like, it's an unreasonable thing if you wrote it down on paper to explain to someone. It's like trying to get into the NBA.
Yeah.
It's like a very small percentage of people really make it. And yeah, there might be an offshoot of it.
You sound like my mom right now.
There might be an offshoot of it. But the advice I always give to like creators or, you know, I think even someone who's pursuing that is like, if you just go to bed at night and you wake up in the morning and you can't not do it, then you'll probably make it.
Yeah.
Because you just can't not do it.
Literally, I mean, I
just
forget
couldn't
who
do
I
it.
was listening to. It might have been even on one of your podcasts, but someone was like, you can't beat me at this specific thing because I'll never stop doing it.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
will die before I stop this thing. So
Right.
how are you going to win?
Right.
Like there's no way. Like
Yeah.
even if you think it's a great idea and you're on the wave before me, I love it more than you.
Yes.
So you can't like,
Yeah.
and there really is no competition
Also
with that guy.
the film comedian, the Jerry
Yeah.
Seinfeld, what's his name? Orny
Orny Adams.
Orny Adams.
Yeah.
Yes. That's like a very important film to watch. I think for like any entrepreneur or anyone trying to do anything creative.
Interesting. What did you pull from it that you thought was
that one section.
There's a scene
Yeah.
that's like so important. It's Jerry and Orny are in a club and Orny's talking to Jerry about how he's like turning 30 and he hasn't made it yet. And he's explaining to Jerry that like his friends have jobs and they have mortgages and families and like he's in a comedy club trying to make it as a comic. And Jerry's just challenging him the whole time. Like he's like, when he says like, you know, my friends have mortgages. He's like, mortgages?
And he's like, your friends?
He's like, your
This
friends?
isn't about your friends? And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but Jerry, like, you know, my parents, I have conversations with them. And he's like, your parents? He's like, this has nothing to do with your parents. Sort of alluding to like, this can be about no one else but yourself.
Yeah.
Like you just have to want to do this.
Yeah.
Because that nothing could come from it. Right.
That's
Yeah.
such an awesome lesson. Like,
Yeah.
because you don't even realize you're making excuses. Like, you don't even realize
Yes.
that everything you're saying is a justification for why you
Yes.
shouldn't succeed or why you can't try.
Absolutely.
And then when someone points out to you, like, oh no, all of this is excuses. Like, not even in a hateful way. Just like what you're doing is rationalizing your own failure before you've started.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone points it out to you, you go,
true.
oh yeah, I was bringing my mom into this when she has nothing to do with it.
That's so true.
And I was saying I don't have the thing that
This
you need.
resource or this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sure, there are people without those resources and they don't have the things
Yeah.
that would make the ideal like scenario. But if you're constantly thinking of why it's
Yeah.
not going to work, like, yeah, duh. it's
I
not
also
working.
think if you're too attached to some other outcome that actually has nothing to do with the craft, right? That's the thing, is that I think that film made me understand that like me being a creator, being attached to an outcome of like a lot of money is detached from the outcome of getting to be a creator every day.
Yeah.
That can be achieved at a lot of different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you happy with that? Is that the outcome you're looking for?
Yeah.
Because if the outcome you're looking for is financial, there's other ways to get there that are actually much more rational and
This is
easier.
the worst way to get there.
Yeah, this
That's
is
what I
the
always
worst.
tell people.
This is the worst way to get to that outcome.
Yeah.
And so that's a really important thing to understand, is like the outcome you're looking for is just to become a working creator.
Yes.
Keep doing it.
To
Yeah.
just be supported doing the thing you like
Yeah,
to do.
you corporatize yourself before you've even created
Yeah,
a product.
totally. Yeah, and
Which,
you-
like, again, corporatization is not necessarily bad, but it is like the rigidity and structure that a lot of creatives need. But when you're starting from that point without any type of creative seedling, like you're kind of screwed before you start.
Yeah. I think you want to try and keep yourself in that pre-explosion of skateboarding, pre-explosion of hip hop
Yeah.
space, right? Where it's like, nothing can come of this because I've never even seen anything come of it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no one ahead of
That's
me.
the purest space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's no one ahead of me that's ever. You kind of have to imagine, right? Like imagine no one ahead of you have ever done anything.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things.
But that's the hang up.
It's one of the things we're talking about right now. Is like everyone is too aware of the implications of a good YouTube video right now. Like there's too much tied to a successful YouTube video, where it's like money, notoriety, respect, a gold play button. Like there's too many things attached to success that it makes you very attracted to the outcome of success, not the craft of making.
Yeah,
the
and you
video.
can't even separate them. Like I tell
It's
people this
really
all the
hard to
time.
separate
Like
them,
with
yeah.
stand up, I genuinely, and even with like this, I genuinely don't have any aspirations of fame. I truly don't care. And it's like kind of hard for people to think that, like, oh, you put yourself out there and you make content all the time.
Sure.
I genuinely see it as like a byproduct of doing great stuff. Like in the way that like an NBA player might not be wanting fame, but by virtue of being a great NBA player, you will become famous.
Yeah.
And I don't post like on my story. I don't post like stuff I'm
Right.
doing that day. I don't
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go out of my, I have a hard time posting just because I genuinely am not that obsessed with the idea of being famous. And I think that is a major advantage because if that is the thing you're constantly thinking about, where like, oh, I have to get this, I think getting married young also helps. Like I'm not like obsessed with like attracting female attention.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think that
That's
also
a good
makes the
point,
product
yeah.
a little bit more pure. Like I see comics sometimes that'll like do jokes and then girls will walk in and then do different jokes. Like they'll have like an edgy like joke or whatever, and then girls will walk in and they'll be like, so I was hanging with my bestie, and I'm like, oh, you're trying to get laid. Like you're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
changing your craft in order to like attract women.
How
And
much
that's
have
corny.
you transformed since you got married? Like, who were you when you got married? Who are
Bro,
you today?
I mean, I've transformed a lot from that moment just in terms of like responsibility and things, but I've been with my girl since I was like 17.
Wow.
Wow.
So we've been together a long time, and I'm saying, Catholic
Short hair.
boy, let's
Short
go,
hair Mark.
short hair
Yeah,
Marky.
yeah,
It's-
yeah.
I was with her before I did stand up.
Interesting.
Like I've been with her for a long time. So
Has she challenged the kind of like,
short hair, yeah.
yeah. But like the societal, like it seems like you went through a phase of having kind of a rigid view of the world, right? And then that kind of expanded.
Yeah.
And you netted out in a place of like heavily questioning a lot, and then found a new, long hair version of yourself.
Yes.
Which is a typical story.
Yeah.
But has she gone through that same transformation?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if she was probably less rigid, and weirdly, like my worldview wasn't super rigid. My mom's like big into like conspiracies, so like as a kid, I'm like 10 years old, like debating like Building 7. I'm like, dude, like how did it fall at free fall speeds? You know what I'm saying? You guys don't even know about that. Like you,
Yeah,
don't,
that's not
you guys
even
aren't even
English. I
on
don't know
that
what that
shit,
is.
bro. You're not even on my wavelength, dude. But like literally, I'm like debating with her about like the Rothschilds, like Soros, like moon landing shit. Like we're
Got
going
it.
into it as a kid.
I see.
So everything's up for question, except the one true God, the Holy Catholic Apostolic.
I see.
Like
So
that-
you guys bonded on that a lot.
Oh,
Like that was
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Catholicism.
Dude, Catholicism and conspiracy, like questioning everything, and then even questioning your own faith. I would come home and have like staunch religious debates with my mom at like 12, because I went to a Presbyterian school. So like my school, like if you're not familiar with Christianity, as a Jew and a Hindu.
I went to Episcopalian school.
Okay,
growing
yeah.
up.
So it's similar. So like there's like Reformed Presbyterian
Yeah.
ideology, and so the school is Presbyterian, and then my parents are staunchly Catholic. So I'd come home and be like, "Hey, do we worship Mary?" And my mom would be like, "No, we don't worship Mary. We venerate blah blah blah." Hey, is the Eucharist actually transubstantiated in the body of Christ, or is it a symbol for it? It says, in the Gospels of John. And she's like, well, it is it's that kind of shit at like 12 years old. So there's a lot of questioning, and I think that kind of led me into questioning more things as I got older. And my wife certainly was a part of that journey for sure. So yeah, her mind has opened up, but she's just, I think, smarter than me. Like she's much more sure of herself.
Yeah.
Like she like got one rental, like not even a rental car. She went to buy a car, test drove it one car one time, was like, I'm buying it. She wanted a husband. She met me
Got it. I'm
one
buying it.
time.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, I'm going to buy him. Like
The car
that-
thing is impressive.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying.
difficult.
I'm over here like I'm on Reddit, every single car, looking at everything.
What does this one say about
calling
me?
people
What does
up.
that one say
What is
about
this
me?
one? What's the best one? How do I maximize?
I don't,
Yeah.
I'm looking for convenience. I'm addicted to convenience, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not as certain as her. I'm just not willing to do the research on something I don't like.
Yeah.
A car could be anything to me. Like
Yes.
it's like it's just gonna get me somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how she is with everything. Like, look, I'll just show her a thumbnail. Like, which one do you like better? She's like, this one's way better.
Well, that's an important decision. So
That is-
that's
that's
tough.
what I'm saying.
That you can't show her that thumbnail.
No,
Yeah.
and sometimes she's wrong, but she's
Pop it in our
confident
Discord.
in the one
Yeah.
she's wrong about. It's like a really like attractive quality to me. I think it's so cool. But like for you getting married, did you find that there was any ideology shift, any like lifestyle change that you adopted that you think is better or worse?
Yeah, I think I settled into like a different space.
I thought you were about to say I settled. I was like, dude,
No.
she's
no,
gonna
no.
hear this.
No.
bro.
Like I was able to like take a deep breath and like become more of myself.
Yeah.
I think she's also a therapist, which really helps. Like she's a great communicator.
Cheat code.
Yeah, great communicator. Really, I don't know. I just feel more like myself now than ever. And I think that's also, it's both being 30, but also having a really good partner. You just like are able to figure out yourself. That's the best way I could describe it. Is like I feel like I am now the fullest version of myself.
Yeah.
And that is not something I anticipated with marriage. I thought marriage was very much, when I was growing up, I thought like relationships, there was always some level of compromise in my relationships where I was like, okay, yeah, like this one part is kind of uncomfortable or like doesn't really work, but like everything else is good. So I'll just change that part of myself.
And
like,
then we'll be good.
Yeah. And then we'll be fine. And like that can't last for a very long time.
Right.
So yeah, I think like that's been the most interesting. And then whenever that happens, right, when you're like actually a full version of yourself and pretty like relaxed, you can then move on to like the other parts that you want to explore in your life. Because everything else is like in your 20s, or at least in my adolescence, in my 20s, I was kind of trying to figure myself out, and that took up a lot of time, and that's just like experimenting, trying things, thinking a lot. Like there's so much that you're trying to figure out about yourself that you don't have the mental bandwidth to do the other things.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like getting married, I like even subconsciously, like no matter how, faithful you are, even in like a dating situation, you're still kind of like emitting a broad like radio frequency. Like you're like putting your energy out there to be like, who wants me? Who's attracted to me?
Still, anything could happen.
Yeah.
Yes. And,
Zone.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
Even if it's the utmost of seriousness.
Yeah,
And nothing's going to happen.
literally, yes.
Yeah.
I'm building a business, and that I'm going to post on my story because this one girl that I was flirting with at one time, maybe she'll see it, or maybe who knows. Like there's just constant outward frequency. And once you get married, you're kind of forced, or at least you should be, to like, okay, now I just have this frequency that I don't have to put out anymore. It's going to be into my
Yeah.
partner and then into myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I found
totally.
like the week before I got engaged to be feeling very out of control. Granted, it's a very like
Yeah, that's
a
nerve-wracking.
stressful week.
How old were you when you got engaged?
I mean, this was in December. So
I was 6. You were fucking 16,
I was-
dude.
I
That's
was-
great. That's
yeah, I
big.
was 33.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you're 33. How old? You're 30?
I'm 34
He's
now.
34.
I
I'm
turned 34 in
33.
January.
Okay, sick.
I'm 33.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we're like mature guys, we're mature podcasters.
You want a cold open with that? Or?
Yeah, start with that.
Yeah, we're like tough big boys.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, we were
adults.
sportsmen
yeah,
in
we're
our young
really-
age.
We're legit big boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we boxed at that boxing gym I told you about.
That's right. So you've been married since you were 30.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Okay, and
yes.
then you're
I had a a COVID wedding, like in my parents' backyard, and then had a big Indian wedding.
Like a week-long music festival.
Let's go,
It was
dude.
epic.
2 years later. So it's like kind of like, I try and think, I'm like, I got married last year, but I actually got married in 2020. So yeah, 3 years.
That's fire.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I cut you off. You were saying
No, I
that
was
the
saying
week
that, yeah,
up, you feel
like-
out of control.
Yeah, I went from feeling like very out of control, and granted, it's a crazy week when you're planning to get engaged. It's a huge decision, and there's like a lot of moving parts. But to like that next morning feeling incredibly in control, and like you were saying, like that frequency, I feel like it just kind of like goes away.
Yeah.
And it's like a very comforting feeling.
Oh my
You know,
gosh.
of just like, oh, that's gone.
It's the best. I genuinely like, people ask me.
And I'm not like married yet. I'm still in this phase where it's not like,
Yeah, no, it's not gonna work
but it
out for
feels-
sure. Yeah, it won't work out.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
You are
yeah.
married though, you know, like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like,
No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it is for guys. I actually, to be honest, I don't think guys are married till we have kids. Girls are
Interesting-
married.
interesting take.
Girls are married when they're engaged. Once you pop the question, girls are married, and then once you have kids, then guys are married, and guys will be
That's
like, "Dude, I'm
that's
married."
interesting.
But every guy, when they're married, knows like, "All right, I'll give you half my shit." And then I'll be free to do whatever I want. Like that's, I think, what most guys are thinking, because they're like,
like
I can't-
worst case scenario
yeah, because
mentality.
a guy can still get married at 50, like socially, rightly or wrongly. That is sort of the way that the paradigm functions, and you can still have kids, yada yada. So it's like, I don't think guys fully, like, I think kids for me will be the next phase where
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's a very life-changing
Definitely.
moment. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's one that you can't reverse.
yeah, literally.
You're
Yeah.
a dad. You're a dad.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and like,
That feels just more of a personal freedom thing. I don't always think about it in the confines of the relationship, but just of like
Yeah.
having a child. It's just, I think
I don't
about
know
I think
how-
about what I'm doing sometimes on a Saturday or a Sunday or after work, and just think, oh no, drastically different with a child.
Yes.
yeah,
Drastically
Yeah.
different.
I mean, I have a lot of friends who are having kids right now, and it's really interesting to watch it happen and how much it dramatically changes
Yeah.
their lives. Yeah. I don't really know how. I don't know how like some people are entrepreneurs and have a kid.
It's crazy, right?
I don't understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if both parents are working.
Yeah.
Or like if it's a single parent or whatever, like that is so tough.
That seems really challenging.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, take the kid to work with you. I think about that sometimes. I'm like, I would love to do that. Like if I'm on the road,
Yeah.
like take my kid with me. Like that'd be so fun. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like my kid will be a carny probably, or like a weirdo, but I'll take
Traveling
him.
is a tough part of the like kind of creator or performer journey, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's so fun, and like we're traveling right now. We're in New York. We did a gig yesterday. Like that was really fun, great. And I love like this feeling of being
out and about.
out and about.
Yeah.
Like obviously in New York City. New York City is like unbelievable.
Yeah, you're not in Omaha.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Omaha.
Yeah, sorry, Omaha. But yeah, you get to come to these cool places, and like I think I'll have a different relationship with this when I have a kid at home.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I kind of need to get back. I think, right? I don't know how that will mentally change the whole form of being like a person on the
I
road.
mean, you guys strike me as good parents already. Like I feel like you have the aptitude to
Wow.
be
Appreciate
good
that.
parents.
Appreciate
But
that.
like all my siblings, like I said, my parents had 7 kids. I have 5 older siblings.
Wow.
And they basically all have kids. And it's cool seeing how they've changed with children. And it's like you think about all the inconvenient things because you see and understand the consequence of what children will do to your daily routine, but you don't have the positive benefit of loving something so unconditionally that you don't even, like, it's hard
Yeah,
to
of
balance
course.
the two.
Yeah.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like it's an unfair thing to think about when
True.
it's like Saturday night and you're like, oh man, if I had a kid, this would
Yeah,
suck.
because you only have a reference point
Yeah,
for
exactly.
what you do during your free time.
Yeah,
but
not
sometimes-
how wonderful it could be or what the experience could be.
It's
Yeah.
like imagine you're hanging out on the couch and then there's the greatest thing ever you could be doing. And then you're sitting there on Saturday night being like, oh, this would be drastically different and way, if I had a kid, I'd much rather be hanging with them.
You know what's interesting is being in LA, there's never really like being in LA in your 30s, there's nothing going on. You know, like you're
Man, it's so
you
dull.
just kind of sit
In kind of the best of ways.
Yeah, it's not very accessible. Like in New York, even being here for the couple days, it's like everything is so accessible at
Yeah.
all times,
Nonstop.
nonstop.
Anything you want 24/7.
Yeah, at all times. It's always accessible. And like there's people to hang out with. There's one of the strangest things, we were talking about this before, is being in New York, it never feels like you're alone, especially if you're like a creator or a podcaster or someone who makes stuff. because the probability of someone being a viewer or listener to your stuff on the street is so high here. At least I've felt that whenever we come here. Like right when we landed, we got to our hotel and immediately
They were like, Andrew Akash, what's up?
That's good.
That'll happen.
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks, guys.
But yeah, it's just like, someone will just be like, hey guys, love the show. And like, you're just like, whoa. And like, you just, in LA, you feel very alone. In a good way when you want to feel alone.
Right.
But then sometimes when you don't, it's like, it's just not
Yeah, it
as
can feel
accessible.
isolating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I can see that, especially in New York. Like there's just so much frequency. Like there's so many people in such a small little window.
And people are having a shared experience.
Yeah.
Like everyone's taking the subway. Because,
Dude,
by the way, like getting in an Uber here is a bad experience.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing because you have no idea if you can trust Google Maps. Like
Yep.
if it says it's 15 minutes, no idea. Is that 15 minutes?
Why do they put the number? Just be like, hey, it'll take a little.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because the
Especially in
number
New
is
York.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Just in
LA,
New
it's
York.
pretty accurate. But in New York, it's like,
Yeah, you have no idea.
I don't know. There could be a guy there. This morning, I got in an Uber and there was a guy. They were painting the pedestrian walkway.
Yeah.
At 9 a.m.
Yep.
On Fifth Ave.
Probably wasn't even done by the city. It was just a citizen that was like, we're going to do some painting today.
Yeah, and I was
then
like-
the city was like,
I was
okay.
like, this should be done at like 2 a.m, right?
You would think.
Yeah.
Nope. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That's the whole city.
Yeah.
But I truly think it is like the greatest place, in my opinion, for me as like a creative to be, because I think so much of stand-up is just like commenting on the human experience.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
best way to comment on the human experience is to be around humans. Like this is the greatest. Like I've actually stopped listening to music to create more.
Whoa. Cool.
Like there is this, I would placate myself with music. I think that like I would wake up, turn on my favorite song to feel good. I don't even need coffee. Like I listen to like Return of the Mac. That's my coffee. That
song
Like,
is your
of course.
coffee?
I'm on it. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter. You lied to me. I feel great. So I wake up, listen to that.
That's the clearest I've ever heard someone say the line, because that line is pretty.
Oh, you mean that line?
It's a little bit more.
Yeah, I did the AI. I did Adobe to it. And just kind of like brightened it up, just the treble part. I can do that on the fly. But yeah, I would like do that when I wake up. Go to the gym, listening to music. Fred again and Skrillex at Coachella. Boom. Listen to that all the way through. Go in the shower, listen to more music or a podcast. Bike to work, listen to more music. I got my Spotify Unwrapped. I was in the 1% of music listeners of the whole app.
Wow.
The 1%.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not good. No one wants to be the 1%.
I think that is what we do in LA. Right?
Basically the
Like,
same thing.
Throw on music, throw on podcasts.
But my issue
Emma
was like,
Chamberlain just talked about the concept of like having the necessity of always having something on.
yeah, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I'm like that too. Like
don't think that's
and
good.
sometimes
No.
I notice that I'm not even listening. I just need it on.
Yes.
I like turned on Phil DeFranco the other night, and I just had it on while I was packing. And then at one point I realized it was in the other room, and I hadn't listened to it at all. But I spent time searching for something to put on so I could start packing. And I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to take a break from this.
It probably wasn't even on. That was just your latent schizophrenia just kicking in. You're like, Philip, stop turning the lights on, dude. It really is crazy though. Like I'm constantly finding myself placating with just stimulus. When as a comic, I feel like it's my obligation, the thing I love to do is to observe human beings. And I love being around people. I love humans so much that I'm doing myself a disservice by getting on the train and tuning out.
Yeah.
When I should be tuning in to this shared thing that we're all doing.
But
that's
everyone
so
on the
crazy.
train is on their phone.
Some.
Yeah.
But then some are having a convo
That's
and you
true.
hear them and you're like, what are people talking about?
Yeah.
Some people are reading books.
Yeah, and what is the book that they're reading? I'm looking at that. Like what does the train sound like? What is the person that's talking? Like you're cutting off an entire
important.
dimension of your senses.
So
and
important.
when you're not hearing stuff, I don't think you're looking at stuff in the right way because you're not responding to auditory stimulus. I don't know if you can even smell things in the same way. Like I feel like it blocks off so much of the way
Yeah.
you're interfacing.
That is something that I really respect about comics, is that they're like such incredible observers of the human condition. Like, and then the next step is like they have to deliver it to us in a way that's like, that makes us laugh.
I don't think that's only comics though. I think that is a trait shared amongst all creatives and artists. Like we
Yeah.
just happen to convey it in like a
That's
very
true. Yeah.
direct.
Musicians are like that too.
It's
Like
the same
lyrics
thing.
are, lyrics
I mean, I
are
think like with
that.
every edit we make, maybe not in an interview, but in a documentary
Sure.
or a story-driven piece, like we're making a decision based off what we think, how we think humans will respond.
Yeah, of course.
Like the
Of
general
course.
consensus of humans at
Yeah.
large YouTube creators are making decisions based off that.
Yes.
You know?
And in order to understand humans best, I think it is imperative to not be placating yourself with external stimulus at all times. Obviously, I'm going to listen to music at the gym. Sometimes I'll go to the gym without headphones and I'm like, what is this place? I'm just sweating in a room with dudes.
Sometimes
this is so weird.
I look at the gym and I'm
What
like,
are we all doing?
this is a very, especially in New York when it's really nice out. Because
Yeah.
the other day it was so nice out, and we went to the gym and it's like underground,
Yep.
and it's just like it's in a dark cave,
There's mold.
and everyone's looking at themselves and lifting these heavy objects, and you're like, what is this place?
What a weird thing.
What a strange thing.
Like,
I
we're-
took a run in Central Park this morning. That
was awesome.
Great.
The best.
That was
That's
amazing.
what Casey does. He goes on the west side and just like runs 5 miles at 6 in the morning.
That guy runs a lot though. Like
Yeah.
when he posts, I'm always like, that's like a marathon. You know, like, are you casually
Every
running
day.
a marathon?
Yeah, he'll warm
Yeah.
up with just a half marathon just in the morning. It's insane. But
Even
yeah,
when it's like freezing cold or raining.
he
Yeah.
doesn't care. You can catch him. Go to the west side, 6 in the morning. You'll find him.
I'm not going to be there.
Yeah, and then you can pick up a shift painting sidewalk crossings. Like you can have a whole day of it. It'd be awesome. But yeah, I just think the constant need to stimulate yourself, I think, is hurting creators. And it's hurting me. Like I find that when I'm just like, it's so funny to me when people are like, dude, I love showering. I come up with the best ideas. I love going on a plane and not having Wi-Fi. I come up with the best ideas. It must be the plane. It must be you not being on TikTok listening to Kendrick Lamar all day.
That is
Again, man, it's the little kid who wasn't on his phone on the
Yeah.
bus.
That's what I'm
Literally,
saying.
like, saved everyone's
What if
life.
the pilot on my plane has a seizure?
Yeah.
Then what? I'm going to land that plane.
Exactly.
In the Hudson. Call me Sully.
Yeah,
I
you're-
can do
you're
it.
the one.
I can save us,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
I do find that so amazing about being on a plane. I very rarely buy the Wi-Fi, only if I really need to send an email.
Yeah.
But I like try and stay away from that because it's the sacred time.
Is it
Yes.
a thing to get emotional on planes?
Yeah.
Like if you watch a movie on a plane
Oh,
or a
I've
TV
cried.
show, are you more likely to cry?
Well, only in the air. Like if you're just taxiing and you
No, you're
start
taxiing.
crying,
Yeah,
like you
that's
might have
weird.
something
No,
going
yeah,
on
yeah,
in
yeah.
there.
But is that a thing? Truly, in the air, I feel
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
the likelihood that I will cry.
Yeah, no,
Hi.
they talk about that.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. And
Who's
like
they?
same with like
Who's
taste.
they?
Who's they? Just people?
The
Yeah.
Jewish media. Okay. That, they, dude. I'm telling you, my mom's a conspiracy theorist. I don't know what you want me to tell you. But that's he's Jewish, guys. I don't know if you guys know this. He
I don't know if you can use me as like
Yeah.
a,
No, I am. He's my token. He had lox and bagels on Easter, okay? But apparently that's a thing. Like scientist,
Yeah.
Dr. Huberman,
Doctors.
okay? He talked about
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Wow.
So the doctors,
Huberman really came on the scene and just took over.
He's
did.
the doctor.
He's
he's
the guy.
He's the doctor.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
He's they.
He's them, dude.
Yeah.
He's him. I'm him.
It's him.
That is one
Dude,
sexist
he's
thing.
on your show.
What?
He talked about like the perfect week of working out.
Yeah.
And I follow it.
Do you really?
Yes.
Wait, I missed it.
Yeah,
what is
he
that?
talked
No,
about
no,
like
no, no,
yeah,
nothing.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Dude, he's gonna be in Division One lacrosse
By the
real
way,
quick.
yeah,
dude. You got
yeah.
no
He's
chance.
the goal scorer
Yeah,
now.
By the way,
yeah,
man,
watch.
I gotta work on the IQ.
You could just listen to it too, you know?
Yeah, no, I'll give it
Yeah.
a shot.
Yeah, but then you'd have to listen to our show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I'm not going to be plugged into life and as it's actually happening.
And then what? You know what I'm
What am I
saying?
supposed to do?
Like just observe the world around you.
I just-
you don't.
yeah.
Why do you need a strong body? You need
I'm
a
trying to
strong
observe
mind.
the human condition.
Thank you,
That's
dude.
why I didn't listen to Huberman.
Yeah.
But wait,
Dr.
what
H.
is the perfect week? I don't remember that.
So there was
I was there.
it was 3 days of lifting,
Yeah.
1 day of like steady state cardio, and then 1 day of sprints. And then there was one other day. I don't remember what that day was.
Jawzercise.
Well,
You do one
dude,
day of jawzercise.
Oh my god! I almost bought the Amazon jaw thing recently.
Is that real? Are you being serious?
Because it was so compelling. I watched a TikTok ad and I was like, "That's compelling. That's a compelling reason to buy that." He was
Yes.
talking about how like cavemen had to have good jawbones, yeah,
Yes.
to like rip meat. I was like, "Sure, I'll
Does
buy
it like
that."
firm up your face or
Yes,
what's
like
it gives,
the
it gives you a jawline.
The thought
yeah.
is like men nowadays are cucks and liberals, and the reason is because we don't chew strong stuff, and that like because we're not like eating meat off the bone and like chewing stuff all the time and like building up these jaw muscles,
Okay.
we're actually having underdeveloped facial features. We're also because we're breathing through our mouths while we're sleeping, yada yada. So
the mouth breathing thing that worked for me.
that tracks.
That tracks.
So the mouth
You know
breathing
about
thing, that's legit. But then the idea is like by
Don't breathe
chewing
through your mouth.
chewing hard stuff,
When?
you build up your jaw muscles.
Ever.
Wait, what?
No, you got to nose breathe
Oh,
at
yeah.
all times.
at all times.
How do you train yourself to do that?
Tape.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
that's a real thing.
Do you do that?
Well, I think about it now.
Okay.
At night,
But
if
you don't
I'm,
tape
if
your
I'm
mouth.
mouth breathing, I'll make sure I cut it.
Well,
I mean, I think it was Huberman. He said it literally makes you more attractive.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
That's-
that's what he said. He's like,
I
you
don't,
want
think,
to
I
be...
don't think he said more attractive.
Okay, I'm not gonna put words in his mouth.
I don't think he's like, Colin, you're gonna be handsome now.
Look, that's how I read it.
I like that. That's what you think
And
you're
I
missing
keep,
in life.
I keep tabs of my mouth.
You're
It
just
is
like,
really
dude, if I just
interesting,
breathe with
though,
my
that
mouth shut, I'll be
Yeah.
banging everyone. It's gonna be an issue for my girl. It's gonna be nonstop. You know what I'm missing?
That's
my
why he
mouth
doesn't
is
have
a
the
game.
ring on.
I just gotta cut the mouth breathing.
He's like, I'm working on cutting my mouth breathing.
Yes, dude. That's what you're
Oh,
missing.
It was pretty compelling.
I saw a comic on TikTok. He's like, I've been, trying to build up my jaw muscle, so I've been going to sleep every night, with a ball gag. And I was like, Jesus, dude, that's wild. But I liked it though. I think that'll also help. You can go ball gag or tape, and then it'll build up your jaw muscles.
Cool.
Yeah, so try that. Explain that to your girl.
I'll try both.
Yeah, at the same time. Nice. But yeah,
Make a YouTube video about it.
Yeah, do that.
That's
yeah,
good.
I tried the Huberman method. He's like, I never condone.
There's
it.
also so many YouTube videos like that. Like I lived like Andrew Huberman for a day.
Yes.
And they have like 5 million views, all of them.
Yeah, I watched them.
Yeah.
I am like, okay, well, did it work?
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of came out of nowhere for me.
Wake up in the morning, look at the sun.
That one's good. I like that one.
It all makes
That's
sense.
a good Hubermanism.
Dude,
yeah.
I feel like we're on
Yeah.
some like native shit where I'm like, if I could just, I want to ground in the morning. If in Florida, I wake up, put my feet in the sand or feet in the grass, just like get out there.
What
I
do
do
you do
that
in New
now.
York? You just
Yeah,
walk
and-
outside?
and I just have a soil. I just have a potted plant. Just
Yeah. I look at the sun. I look at the sun every morning now.
yeah.
Just straight into it?
Before phone?
Well, I close my eyes, but I like look at the direction.
He's like, just
I hear it's good for you.
Yeah, I think that's so important of before the phone, but it's hard to do sometimes.
Dude.
It's hard.
I mean, I do the phone in the other room now.
Oh, it's so good. Do you have an alarm clock?
I can't do that.
I wouldn't call my wife an alarm clock, but
Yeah.
I just call her my wife. But yeah, she is an alarm clock.
Got it.
Every morning. I mean, she
That's
wakes
so
up at 6
good.
a.m.
Just naturally?
Dude, 6 a.m. I'm up at like
that's so
8:30, crack of dawn, 8:30.
So good.
And she already has problems. She's already got stuff that's happened. She's like, I did this business meeting. I went to the gym. I got in a fight with this person. She's got things to tell me as soon as I wake up. I'm like, how did you get so much done?
Wow.
It's insane.
amazing.
So the second I wake up, she's like ready to play. Whereas she also goes to sleep at 8, and then I'm just up till 2.
Yeah.
Which I much prefer. I mean, do you wake up early?
My wife wakes up early to go to workout classes, and now I go with her. So like hot yoga and stuff like that. Like it's just
She got you.
yeah.
Man, I'm a night owl, but I'm like trying real hard.
Screw it, dude. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. This is society, bro. This is society telling you gotta wake up early.
Yeah, I feel like I do my best work at night, like late at night. Come up with my best ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the assumption that should always be challenged is that there is like one rule for all of us. I think like we assume that we are much more like similar, and we are very similar, but like it's very subjective,
Yes.
and like that's an okay thing to be subjective.
Yeah. And then don't get pissed at people because you followed their regimen for what to do and it didn't work.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, bro, like you got to figure this out for you.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
ever take advice. Like I took fitness advice from like people that were jacked, and they're like, yeah, dude, just like eat and then go work out sometimes.
Totally.
And then I'm like, yeah, I've been doing that, and I
Yeah.
don't look like you.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, yeah, because what worked for him was just kind of
Yeah.
doing nothing, and he's an elite athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
And it didn't work out. I'm like a high IQ guy, and so I have to like actually do a lot of work.
that's
But
good.
yeah, you have to like come up with your own little.
Us IQ guys. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You got to come up with your own
I'm
little
just a body
thing.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the wildest thing is from that Huberman episode, people, and I saw only one of them, and I think it got taken down, but people are doing AI generated ads about stuff that he
Yeah.
didn't talk about.
Yeah, and Rogan too.
Have you
It
seen
was
those?
him and Rogan talking about like a protein supplement,
Yeah.
and it was selling it. Yeah,
That was crazy.
that was crazy. Yeah,
What do you think of that? Like that's wild.
I think AI is a lot more substantial than maybe we're even allowing ourselves to talk about. Like,
That's my alarm.
Are we done here?
AKA my wife.
is that it? Yeah,
Yeah, part 2.
Yeah.
I guess.
To be continued.
we
Yeah,
stop
exactly.
at all the interesting creator stuff.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
about
kind of my
ghosts.
thing. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you think aliens are gay? What's up with that?
This is such a different show.
Yeah.
This is
I'm into
wild.
it.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying, dude.
it's nice to.
The cameras aren't even on. There's no Wi-Fi in this
Yeah,
building.
yeah, I just got that vibe.
This is not real.
I did get that
Yeah.
vibe. That like this isn't real.
I truly don't care if people listen.
You're
I
not gonna
really
upload
don't.
this, right?
It's like my favorite thing. I try to make the thumbnails and titles good to make
Yeah.
it interesting. The intro, yada yada. I don't care. I really only care if people listen because then that means I get to talk to cooler people.
Right.
Like cooler than
I
you
mean,
guys.
you don't
Like-
care.
Yeah. We're just here
Yeah, for now.
For now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be replaced by AI.
Yeah, exactly. I hope.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I think the advances are so dramatic. Like, even right now, you're cutting within ATEM right there, a switcher, right? You're doing autopod.
So you think?
Yeah.
We've recently switched to autopod.
Same.
Dude, young
Yeah.
Will over here
Yeah.
killed me on his Instagram story, bro. I was dying laughing. So to get a 1080 live switcher, basically, if you're doing a podcast, you have two options. You can either live switch, where you're switching through angles in real time. That way, when you're done with the conversation, you have a fully formatted video file that you can work with. Or you have to go through and cut every little thing. It's like a switcher afterwards in Premiere, Final Cut, and it takes literally real time for however long the episode is, like 3 hours. It sucks. Or in order to get a 4K switcher, it costs like $50K. It's like insane.
Yeah.
It's like literally $5,000 or whatever.
Which is strange. But,
Right?
but at this point now, switchers are going to be gone.
Literally.
Because also with a switcher, you're naturally going to be a second delayed.
Yes.
So, or 2 seconds delayed.
Yeah.
And that's been a really wild change in our process that has like sped up the process.
Can you explain autopod to people?
Yeah, so Autopod basically will read the waveforms of who's talking. So if I'm talking right now, it'll stay on my camera.
But now I'm talking, and
Right.
now it's on my camera.
Exactly.
And then if I start talking,
Yeah.
It's still on my camera.
it's still on Mark's camera. Yeah,
So-
yeah.
because Colin's camera's not
We've
getting cut.
programmed it in. Don't cut to me.
If Colin's talking, we're cutting it
Yeah,
out.
it's cut. Move on.
The strangest thing is how well it knows like when to cut to the wide on our show because we have a wide. Yeah, and that shows everyone, and it'll cut to the wide. And so it's doing it with incredible precision because it's based on the waveforms rather than based on a human being. And I think what's interesting is that like AI has changed trust in offices. Like I think all of us as a team trust Autopod more than we trust any single individual in the office. Right?
Well, that one kid, Tiger, I trust him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I trust him.
I trust Tyga a lot.
I trust
Yeah,
Tyga.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do I call him, Tiger?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
Tiger
what
Woods.
Schultz called
That's
him on
what
the
Schultz
show.
called him on the episode, yeah.
Which was which was very funny.
Yeah, I trust him the most.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, but like that it's changed that right from the creation level where we are starting to like we run all of our YouTube titles through ChatGPT. So we'll write a title and then we'll be like, give us 10 variations of this. And even if we don't use it, we just want to see.
Right.
And we'll keep giving it. It's essentially like sitting in a brainstorm being like, what else could it be? What else
Right.
could it be?
And then literally like, give us 10 variations that are more interesting. Give
Yeah.
us 10 variations that are more sensational.
yeah.
That's
like
fire.
you can just keep going on that and it'll give you something.
Yeah.
That's better than what you came up with your own
10
brain.
variations more sexual. And it's
Sure.
like,
Yeah,
well,
we
You can
run
ask
that one.
anything.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
see.
That's our
Yeah.
show. Yeah. But yeah, it's so that level of trust has changed, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like I almost don't want to put something out unless we run it through just in case.
Right.
Right. So it's like just in case. And then we like transcribe everything and very quickly with Descript, and now we've created voice models of Colin and I in Descript, which is another crazy thing because they're getting better. It's strange to like people talk about like, oh, you train an AI voice model. It's like, what does that mean? But we're doing it in real time where it's like it'll ask us to say, give me Samir's voice angry, give me Samir's voice sad, and you can plug those in, and then all of a sudden the voice model starts to get better and better and better. And it's strange from the creation side. On the consumer side, like how are we going to know what to trust? Like that feels like George Orwell, War of the Worlds stuff.
Yeah.
George Orwell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where War of the Worlds played on the radio. And
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles.
Orson
There
Welles.
it is.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
George
yeah.
Orwell. Yeah, Orson Welles.
You know, the setting for that was in my hometown, walking distance from my house.
Really?
Clarksville
Really?
Pond, yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, that's, were,
Yeah.
were your folks listening to it? Like your great grandparents or some shit?
We didn't go back that far in that area.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, then why'd you bring it up?
No, that's
motherfucker?
that one.
Stop cutting to his camera.
I think
okay?
that one
Like,
didn't cut to me,
dude.
right?
No,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, not
Cool,
the
cool.
IQ guy.
And we're
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But when that played on the radio, it was like one of the first times that fiction was read on the radio, and people took that as reality, and like there was people who committed suicide and people who fled their
Yes.
houses, and people thought it was a real story about an invasion.
If anyone doesn't know, this is a story where basically it's a radio broadcast of aliens invading America.
That's right.
And it
My hometown.
In Colin's,
For the record.
Yeah, it was Colin's dad that made it, and it's literally his hometown. And they basically play it out like it's a real alien invasion, and they put one little disclaimer at the beginning, like, "This is not a real event. This is a reenactment," and then just went through the whole thing, and people were like, "Holy shit, this is insane."
It's happening.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a little bit of that where it's like the intensity of output and content. Like how do we? At what point do we start questioning? Is that coming soon? Where like everything I see, I'm kind of like, was that? Is that real? Is that not real? And I think it's especially scary on the podcast side or like the audio side, because audio voice models for people who podcast a lot, there's a lot of you out there. So that can, Rogan, have you heard the Joe Rogan AI experience on YouTube?
It's my favorite podcast.
Dude, the Sam Altman episode is like pretty compelling.
Yeah.
It's fun to listen to. And I was listening to it just to hear what it sounded like. And then Rogan asked Altman about how ChatGPT works, and he starts answering. And I'm listening to it, and then I'm just listening to it. And I'm like, that's a good answer. I want to know more.
Yeah.
I want to hear the next question.
And who wrote that answer? Probably ChatGPT.
Exactly.
So he should know, right?
Yeah. So that, I think, like the trust on the consumer side, I also don't know when that comes into question or if it matters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Will they be entertained no matter what?
There was a YouTube short I watched with Rogan's voice explaining how to use a barbecue. And at some point I recognized it was obviously not him. But someone had used his voice model, and it made the short more interesting. And it was almost like the modern form of memes might be like using someone's face or voice to do something that's obviously not them.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think. Like it's happening so fast that I don't know.
If it's entertainment, then I don't think anyone will care. If it is now breaching the line of like politics or something else, that's where it gets like really controversial. I don't even know how you like moderate that.
No idea.
Like this crazy event happened. Now there's a riot in the streets. Oh wait, the event actually didn't happen. Like that's a bad situation.
Yes.
If it's like, oh, look at Drake rapping this Ice Spice song, that's just funny. Who really cares?
Yeah.
Maybe like the creators, but as the general public, I don't think the impact is as significant as if it's a political thing.
Yeah, I think the concern is like the boy who cried wolf situation, right? Where like a boy says, there's a wolf, there's a wolf, there's a wolf, and like he's just messing with them.
Yes.
And then the one time there actually is a wolf and they're in danger, everyone's like, we don't believe you.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I feel
Orson
like
Welles cried alien.
Yeah, like that's the concern with AI is that like you see so much stuff that you're so desensitized and you're like, that's not real, that's not real, that's not real.
Yeah.
And if it is real, you don't believe it as real.
Dude, I was talking to this guy, Sebastian Errázuriz. He's a Chilean artist that's also like this just brilliant guy who's just like so sharp with like everything happening in AI. He was the first person to like really explain ChatGPT to me like a few months ago. This is like maybe like 7 or 8 months ago, like when it was like ChatGPT 1 or some shit. And he was like, this is going to be a thing. And he created a reality that was insane to me as a creator. It like blew my mind. Tell me if you've heard this, you can stop me. Basically, he was like, okay, ChatGPT, you can program it to come up with like ideas, things that would be interesting. Now, what if you were to come up with like an API or some type of like advanced learning model that could then go through someone's history that they're browsing through on like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, in the way that YouTube already is taking and aggregating your like history and then showing you new content? That is what the algorithm is. What if you can connect that with ChatGPT to then come up with ideas that you would like? And then what if you can connect that with DALL-E? And DALL-E is now like AI art platform where it can come up with images. And then it can come up with photos that you would like. And now DALL-E, if you take a bunch of those frames and put them together, you can create a movie or a piece of video content that has never existed before. And we're starting to see this with like these Balenciaga ads that I forget who makes those, but they're brilliant and they're so fun.
Yeah.
And so now you're making specific content for a specific person that only that person likes based off their browsing history. So imagine when the algorithms first come out and Instagram is no longer linear. And people are like, oh, just show me stuff in a linear basis. And Instagram goes, you don't know what you want. You actually want the stuff that we know that you want. So we're showing you the things that you actually want to see. And that created a better environment for the consumer. And it was blowing people's minds that like, oh, my feed is different than your feed. If you go on my Facebook, it's a lot of like videos and memes. But if you go on my dad's Facebook, it's a lot of like pictures and articles. How is it possible that our same website is different? And I remember that blowing my mind in like 2016, being like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So now one variation ahead of that, it's not that your feed is curated just for you. Imagine the specific piece of content is curated just for you, and that it only ever existed for you before ever.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you like funny videos of like dogs like playing with pigs. You don't need to wait, every year for like another dog playing with a pig video to show up. It will just show up because that piece of content was created, an actual video of a dog playing with a pig that never existed before, just for you, that only you get.
But I think that takes out some of the collective experience of social media right now, because it's not just for me to get entertained. Sometimes it's for me to find something to DM to my wife that's funny, that can connect us and make us laugh together, right?
Now think of the social equity though, if the thing that you got, only you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an original creation from your algorithmic input.
Yeah. I
Wouldn't
think,
you want to share that and be like, look what my brain and the way I think came
Gave
up
to
with?
me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's literally outsourcing.
It'd be so disappointing if it just was like a lot of uninspiring, unfunny stuff. Just like, God, this is me.
You're like, dude,
Yeah.
a guy farting again.
Yeah.
And they're like, how does he do it? How does he keep
Isn't
thinking
that
of
like
genius?
already what it is on TikTok,
basically.
right?
I guess
that
that
is
is
you,
what
right? It
TikTok
just keeps
is.
coming and you're like, I'm really like that.
Yeah.
I guess that's
me.
I'm him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an interesting future where like, what if that is content where it's like, I love looking at pictures of cool watches. Like I follow an AI fashion page. I really like fashion.
Dude, AI fashion, like so much of what I do on Midjourney is create really dope editorial fashion photography.
Yeah.
I found this great prompt and I'll send it to you. I'll send you my prompts.
You big Mid-Journey guy?
Yeah, dude,
love
I
it?
love it. I'm friends with a guy that's like in the world. He created now a software that he basically comes up with prompts for other people. Like
Yeah.
he like
Yeah,
Prompt engineer?
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, he has a name for it. I don't know if I can say it, but like he calls it like, he says, I'm good at risen up AI. He's like, AI like is fundamentally like flirting. You're basically flirting with a robot to be like, show me a picture of this. And then it shows you the wrong picture and you're like, I'm sorry, baby. I actually meant this picture. Like you're trying to like flirt with it to get the thing you want. So he's like, I'm good at
That's
flirting.
interesting.
He's like, I'm
Yeah.
good at flirting with AI.
How to talk to machines is like the next chapter. The people who are good at talking to machines.
And like, you see how your parents Google? They suck at it. They're like,
sure.
The restaurant that I went to in 1998. Like,
Yeah.
that's not how you use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And or like
It's the
they'll
wrong
type a full
input.
sentence. Yeah, dear Google, explain to me. It's like,
Yeah.
just put 5 keywords and it'll show you what you need.
Yeah.
And that's what we Google. I hope. You ever just throw a bone out there? You're like, we all do that, right? You guys pee. You're like, we all shit in the shower, right? Right, guys? We all,
Right?
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 But like that's how it feels. Like, okay, I put 5
I
keywords
actually
in.
have no idea how I Google. Now that you said that, I was like, I think I do like 1 or 2 words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe 5 words.
Like
max.
I'm trying to find like Back It Up Terry. Have you seen that video?
No.
Oh my god, it's an all-time great video. Guy in like a electronic wheelchair tries to light a firework.
Oh, I've seen that.
And then
Yes.
lights it.
Yes, that's a common meme around 4th of July.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
and
yes.
how would you search that? You search like wheelchair guy firework.
Yes.
I'd
I'm
probably-
with you now.
Yeah, I would search like
I'm shitting
4th
in the
of
shower with
July.
you.
You're shitting in the shower,
Yeah.
bro. Let's
I get you
fucking
now.
go.
It took me a second.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
And so that's how we Google. But now we're
That's
gonna be
interesting.
Chat GPT and DALL-E and Midjourneying
Yeah.
like idiots, and our kids are gonna be like, Dad, that's not how you riz up the computer. Like if you're trying to flirt with the computer, you gotta do it like this, and then they'll have the good prompts.
Okay,
He's
I
like,
was
"You
so
figured-"
behind that I'm now realizing you were saying
Yeah.
Riz.
Exactly. Yeah. There's
yeah.
multiple levels here
Yeah.
of
Yeah, like
yeah.
yeah.
Dude, we gotta get a Chat GPT for this combo.
Yeah. Honestly, there was
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
forget
that.
you guys are 34.
Yeah, we're in our
Yeah.
30s.
dude.
Yeah,
Jeez,
we're in our 30s.
you're
We're
not
pretty
hip
slow.
and
Yeah.
groovy.
Yeah, we're not
We should have
groovy,
just kept
man.
it to flirting.
Yeah.
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 No need to bring Riz into the
Okay,
equation.
you're trying to play hooky with the computer.
There we go.
Okay, what do
There
you
we
guys
go.
want me to say?
There we go.
Yeah,
It's like
you're
Ferris
playing footsie.
Bueller's Day Off.
yeah, you're trying to court a computer. Okay,
Yeah.
so you go to the dance hall.
You're going steady with this machine, right? Yeah.
Exactly, dude. You're getting chummy with an AI, and yeah, that's like basically what you got to do is flirt. And you found a good way to flirt with Midjourney.
Yes, a very fun way for me. Yeah, I think like editorial photography is so cool, and like my family's in the fashion business, so I grew up around photo shoots and like was constantly looking at a good photo versus not good photo, and Midjourney's ability to generate an aesthetically appealing photo is unbelievable. And I think one of the most fun things is to put like in the style of X. It's like Wes Anderson is obviously like a huge inspiration to a lot of people right now creating content, but like in AI, but you can do that in like Jacquemus, like in the style of Jacquemus, which is really cool. You can do like all types of designers or artists, which is such an interesting thing. And I don't even know how they feel about that.
Yeah.
If you are so easily generated by AI, is that like a weird feeling or a not weird feeling? Or
Yeah.
is
I
that
would
a
imagine
good
it's
feeling?
strange. I mean, picture another YouTube creator saying, give me this video in the style of Colin and Samir. and then finding a lot of success.
Yeah, I
With a
guess-
script that you read and a thumbnail.
Yeah.
That you look at it and you're like, of course that's us.
I think it's actually a compliment, personally. Like, I don't think the replicability is an insult or a feeling that like you're derivative or unoriginal. I think it's actually the hallmark of originality. Like, this is a thing that with comics, like if you can't impersonate someone, they don't have a unique style.
Yeah.
Like, you can go, hey, what's the deal? You already know who I'm talking about because he's crafted a lane that he owns.
Ooh, this is fun. Do another.
Right? You'd be like,
yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, these motherfuckers.
Wow. Yeah.
That's just a black guy. That wasn't even anyone specific. That was just in general.
I didn't know where we were going.
I was going for Dave Chappelle,
That was
and then
Chappelle,
it kind of turned into Bernie Mac. I feel like a
thought that
little
was-
bit.
yeah,
I ain't
yeah.
scared of you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you don't have a thing that you can sort of replicate, then I don't know if you have a unique style. So the fact that someone can replicate you and everyone goes, oh, that's Colin and Samir.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess you're in a good spot. If that's
That's a
actually
good
happening
spot.
and other people can recognize that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that is actually a good thing. But people will look at AI and be like, oh, it's theft. Like, they're taking ideas that already exist, formulating them into semi-new ideas, and then passing it off as
But
its
we've
own.
opted in to give our stuff to machines for a very long time.
That's what I'm saying.
That's been an opt-in for us for years now, almost 10 years, right? So
I'm also like, how is that different than what any artist already does?
also, like, algorithms are AI,
Yeah.
right? Like we've been in this for a while. It's just like this first time that we've had access to generative AI.
Yeah.
That's like a very jarring thing to watch.
I will say my hope for an AI future as creators, when it comes to like that future where like, what if half the things in your feed are just made by AI that no one's ever seen before just for you? Like that to me is a very real reality. You could go to a movie and be like, hey, this is a movie for Samir. This is a movie for Colin. This is like, I sit down and it has maybe a similar arc or like narrative.
You need to go.
Yeah, we got it.
No, dude.
Yeah,
It's
we
like-
pushed you to
the
a
limits.
late hour.
Apparently, dude, my wife is
Yeah,
bugging.
yeah. I
But no, like imagine there's a
Yeah, we
movie that
pushed
you're
you.
going to see, and it's generally the same arc, but it's specifically for you, where the jersey that the guy wears is for you. Because
Everyone's shitting in the shower.
everyone's shit in the shower, waffle stomping. The boys
Yeah.
are waffle stomping. You know what I'm saying? Because
know what that means,
You
but
don't know what
that's
a waffle stomp is? That's where sometimes you
We
shit
live-
in the shower.
yeah, we
You-
live-
You shit in the
Yeah,
shower
we
sometimes.
live in different worlds.
We live in different
Like-
worlds.
No, no,
Mark.
you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You're waffle
yeah.
stomping, but like you shit in the shower sometimes, and it doesn't always go down the drain. So what do you got to do? Waffle stomp. So anyway, we're all doing it, right? We're all doing it. We're all doing it. And that happens, but that's your future where you're watching a movie and guys are wearing your favorite jersey and waffle stomping. But my theory is that the difference with certain AI and why we will actually gravitate towards human creation is because fundamentally what we look for in art is a reflection in ourselves.
Yes.
In that
Agreed.
when I see a guy run a 2-hour marathon, and his name's Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
And that's impressive to me.
Yeah.
Not only because he did an amazing feat, but because he's a human that did an amazing feat. Like if an ostrich did it, I'd be like, that's kind of crazy. But I'm not
Totally.
as emotionally
Yeah,
connected
yeah.
to it because it's not human.
So when a machine makes something, it's
And that's gonna be my thing,
Yeah.
is that we're gonna use machines for like utility, and it's obviously gonna make all of
Agreed.
our lives better. But when it comes to like looking at like Michelangelo's David, I'm not like blown away because of just the size of it or whatever. I'm blown away because it's another human being that has my DNA, that is the same construction and makeup as me, that made something so beautiful.
Totally. I also think there was someone who said this, that I don't remember who said this to us about video games. Like playing a video game against a computer was fun to a certain point.
Yes.
And then it was no longer fun, right?
Exactly.
It gets boring after a while.
Even if you're winning.
Even if you're winning, it's just not that fun. There's no shared human experience to that.
Yes.
So I think that's one. And I think two is there's probably be a big rise in appeal for going to see like a movie at a theater, going to see stand-up comedy, and going to see plays. Like live performance, I think will trade at a premium and be much more interesting over the next couple of years.
100%.
Because watching someone do comedy is like, there's this like unbelievable tension to it that you just can't get
Yeah,
anywhere
sitting in
else.
discomfort will become novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Right?
everything will be
Because
so
if
comfortable.
everything's made for us, it's so tailored, it starts to feel the same.
We were
Yes.
talking about how inefficiency will trade at a premium. Like I was thinking about, I went to go see John Mayer play solo with my wife.
So good.
He's great. He's amazing. But I was thinking about the concept that like watching him play, he was playing a song Neon, which is crazy. He's like so good at the guitar, and he played a riff for like 3 minutes before he got into the song. And I was like, this is the most inefficient way to listen to Neon, right? I had to drive here. Parking is terrible at a concert. You go in, he starts riffing. He's not actually playing the song for a while. He's singing it. But like, we're there because of the unique factor of it and the collective experience,
Yes.
right? Because the easier thing to do would just be to open Spotify and play the song. So
Get arrested by a bike cop.
that's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's right. Wow.
Throw your phone in the back.
Yeah.
Waffle stop
I
your phone
really
back there.
chucked it, by the way. He made me.
Yeah,
but-
you got a hatchback
Yeah.
there. You got space.
Yeah.
If it's a Civic, it's way harder to get it back there. You got to throw it super hard. But yeah, that's a really interesting way to look at it. That inefficiency will become a sought after thing.
Yes.
Like I think it's like kind of like camping, right? Like, like the only people that like camping are the people that have comfortable lives. Like, if you're living in destitute poverty, you're not like, let's go to the woods. It's like we're already there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think in that same way, as things become more comfortable, we'll seek out that type of like strategic novelty.
Yes. Because, back to like the ChatGPT title thing, we're sitting in a room at the time, we were sitting in a room and all brainstorming titles. And I was like, is this inefficient? Is it more efficient for me to just sit alone with ChatGPT? Am I getting more options out of that?
Yeah.
Right. And then that brought into that. That's where I started thinking about efficiency. And I was like, wait, but the inefficiency creates like a lot of randomness, but is that replicated through the AI? Is there enough randomness in there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think the next 5 years will be very much dominated by talking to machines.
Yeah.
And then we might get bored, similar to playing a video game.
I think,
being
though,
like, it's not fun anymore.
Like one of the most interesting things to come out of this is going to be like the eradication of like language barriers. Like how strange is it that we're all the same species yet we can't communicate with each other?
Yeah.
Like a bunch of us just can't do it.
Yeah.
In
and
any
we
given-
assume all dogs can, but what if they can't either?
Yeah, like in any given place.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
we're getting into the show.
That's what I'm saying.
Now
We're starting,
Well, now
guys.
we're starting.
Like
yeah.
imagine what that does for all of us if like instantaneously anyone around the world can listen to it in their language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have an audio. I mean, you've seen the AI models that are able to like switch out your
Yeah.
mouth
Yes.
in real time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, MrBeast is doing it obviously
Yeah.
like analog, you
Yeah.
know, the old school way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, you know, which is so
with
funny.
human
like,
beings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're so
Yeah.
prejudiced.
Like real
like,
humans.
I was literally talking to my buddy Miles, and he was like, "Dude, I talked to a girl from my hometown in Sarasota. I brought up ChatGPT. She goes, what's ChatGPT?" I mean, what an idiot. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, that was like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
None of us knew what it was.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that's a good point. But like, it is crazy how quickly it's happening, that the idea of like, oh yeah, you know, getting humans to type in your subtitles and, you know, voice over your thing, that's the analog way.
Live switching podcast.
exactly.
Yeah, but imagine
That's crazy.
looking back like 40 years from now and being like, remember when we all couldn't speak to each other?
Right? That's going to be a thing.
All
my
7
God.
billion of us?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like when your parents, I'm sorry, that's rude of me. Your great grandparents are talking about like the telegram or whatever. And they're like, yeah, we couldn't talk to everyone.
How old do you think Colin is?
Dude, this guy's easily 65,
Colin's
right?
at a clean 72.
I mean, he's dressed like Larry David. Like, I don't know how old he is. Like, this is an old Jew. I don't know. But like,
That's
that
good
is
Larry David energy. I've gotten that before.
He does have LDE. We've
I've
said
gotten
that. We've
LDE.
literally said that
Really?
before. He has
LDE.
Larry
Make a
David
shirt out of it,
energy.
dude. Let's
LDE.
go. I want the hat.
Yeah.
But it is like, that is a thing. Like the way your great grandparents or parents would be like, dude, yeah, I couldn't talk to my uncle. Like I was
Yeah.
in college and you know, it was across the country, you know, it might as well have been a different country.
Totally.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
Super interesting.
that's crazy to us to think, oh, you couldn't just like email, call, text, whatever. And I think it's going to be the same way.
Yeah.
Like whether it's through some type of like advanced learning thing with like a Google Glass that we're all able to hear each other, or a neural link where like you're able to talk
And it just
freaking
translates
Spanish or
immediately.
whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we can all just interface in real time. That's crazy. And also so exciting.
Super exciting.
That's like one of my biggest regrets in life, is that I don't have like a good grasp on other languages. I'm like mid at English, and then even worse at French. Like I'm okay with French, but
Was
I'm like,
French your first language?
no, my dad's first language is French. They're
Okay,
both from
okay.
Montreal. And
Do you ever
so-
ask your dad if he thinks in French?
Yeah, he doesn't
He
anymore.
doesn't? He thinks
doesn't.
in English?
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that a strange thing to think about?
right?
Yeah.
You spent the first 16 years of your life only going in
Yeah.
and all of a sudden now
Is that
you're
your
in
French?
English.
Was that your
Well, you didn't know what I said?
was that
Oh, you
your
guys don't speak
I think
French.
that was like,
interpretation
that
of
was like
French?
Charlie Brown.
Yeah, well, that's how
Yeah, that
parents
was-
talk in that show. So, but yeah, that is like crazy. He grew up speaking French, thinking in French, and then all of a sudden one day he's just like, yeah, I don't do that anymore.
It's so strange.
Wild.
So strange.
But I mean, your parents like spoke Hindi all growing up, like thinking in Hindi.
Yeah.
Do they still think in Hindi?
I would assume my dad does. I don't think my mom does.
How crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then when they talk to each other, always in Hindi.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, it's kind of like a mix, but yeah,
English.
mostly. English.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom will pull it out if we're like at dinner or something, and she like is talking about someone next to us or something. She'll pull out Hindi, which is cool. I always feel cool because I have like a secret language.
Yeah, if there's some Pakistanis next to
Yeah.
you, you're like, all right, let's bust it out. But it is so cool. Like, what an amazing future that we could go around and then be able to connect with more humans. Like, it's a bummer to me that I'm only able to connect with
But at the same time, it's also going to be the loss of the experience
The
of learning a
nonverbal
language.
communication,
Yeah, the beautiful nonverbal moments, the experience of learning a language. Yeah, okay.
Oh, you're
never
over
mind.
it. Yeah.
The camera's not on me anyway, right?
Yeah, dude,
okay,
it's
cool.
already pointing at Will.
We're going to be gone by the time that happens.
Got
You know,
it.
by the time
Okay.
the AI comes.
He does look
Who
like
knows how old we are?
The camera's just on Will right now, and he actually just looks like a lo-fi hip-hop beats. Like,
Yeah.
well,
You probably could stream him on a channel.
Yeah, I want to do a
He does look like Lo-Fi Girl
for,
right now.
for other pod producers, produce with me.
exactly.
chill music.
Switch.
I feel like Jesse on our team would love that
Switch.
too,
Yeah,
because he's
yeah.
always like chilling, you know, monitoring everything. And like,
3 hours in. Is it done yet? No, still
Yeah.
not.
Lo-fi
Can I-
hip-hop beats for
Can I
pod
pee
producer.
yet? You know, not me, but I'm
You have
saying,
to pee?
Exactly.
no, producers. Like,
You can pee right now if you want.
but, like being a pod producer. Like, have you had to pee?
Oh yeah.
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 But you have to control yourself so much being a pod producer.
Yeah.
Commend it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
keep controlling yourself.
Well, Will got the job through our newsletter.
Oh yeah,
the
did we,
Published
I don't know
Press.
if we started with that.
Thepublishedpress.com to sign
Where did
up.
we start?
You could get a job too. Yeah.
Who knows, dude?
Completely unclear where we started or where we've gone. Actually,
yeah,
where
yeah.
we've been,
Yeah,
no idea.
We've also ended 30 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right,
None of
we're
this
just
is real.
talking now.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
awesome.
saying.
Yeah.
Friends, friendship. That's what's happening. What a world.
You've just been screening your calls because the conversation's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is an exciting future in my opinion. The idea that you can go around the world, connect with more people, create art for more people, create cool experiences for more people, and that it doesn't have to be broken up by language. But at the same time, my Catholic brain is like, there's a whole story in the Bible about God smiting an entire civilization because they tried to all speak the same language. Yeah.
What's your relationship with Catholicism? Yeah.
You want to get a clean in on that?
What's your relationship with Come on,
Can't do it.
I can't even get it out.
Would you like me
It's
to-
a hard word to say.
It is tricky.
Catholicism.
Yeah. Catholicism.
Yeah.
I still really like the tenets of the faith. Like, I feel like I'm one of the only people that ever existed that's like, I'm not going to church as frequently as I did, and I don't like the rigidity of pieces of the faith that don't seem as inclusionary to like accepting everyone and like people fucking up. I don't like the guilt like necessarily related to it, which I don't even look at as a feature of like Catholic doctrine. I look at it as like a feature of like social dogma that Catholics have picked up through fucking thousands of years. So I look at the faith as like, yeah, I think the tenets are generally pretty good. I think the tenets of every faith that has persisted thousands of years generally have good rules. Like Islam, I think, has great tenets, and so many of those tenets overlap with Christianity, and Judaism has great tenets, and Hinduism has great tenets, and those big ones.
There's a lot of overlap too.
Yeah,
of course.
I grew up going to an all religions temple.
Oh, interesting.
Super interesting.
Whoa. I feel like it was mostly one religion. I mean, all religions Hindu temple. You're like, seems like a lot of Hindus here.
Yeah, it's called the Self-Realization Fellowship.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
LA.
some woo-woo shit. Let's go.
Yeah, I grew up very woo-woo.
That's cool.
Yeah. Growing up on the west side of LA, there's a lot of opportunities to grow up woo-woo. But
Yeah.
I definitely grew up pretty woo-woo.
So what is the deal with that spot?
So basically every Sunday we'd go and they would read from a different scripture, and sometimes multiple. So sometimes they would pick a theme and then read the passages from different texts that had that same theme. And then like the whole space is a lake. It's a beautiful place. It's like it's called Lake Shrine. And there's like essentially all the different paths that lead to the lake, and they represent different religions. And it's kind of metaphorically that like they're different paths that end up in the same place.
Right.
Yeah. And so like each path represents different religion.
That's cool.
So
Christianity is
cool.
probably the shortest path. I think it is. It's just like, it's like a perfect dock.
Want to get to the lake quick?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to brag.
That's really funny. Yeah, and then there was a lot of like lessons. Like every Sunday there was like a meditation, like a 15-minute meditation at the end, which was like you sat in silence and you meditated. So it was a lot about like self-realization. That's like what it was called.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Was it confusing for you as a kid?
Not really. I knew I was like, my family was Hindu, but we weren't like as religious as we were spiritual. Like we believed in, we appreciated all of the religions and scriptures and thought they all had great tenets, like you said. But there was never like a hardcore, like, you know, this is who we are and this is who they are. It was kind of like, you should learn about everyone.
And this is what we all generally believe.
Yeah. Like here's how across years and years, we've all kind of come up with similar stuff. You know, so if you learned all of them, you're like, okay, these are the primary tenets that we've come up with.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think that's an important thing to do for a lot of people. It's just like, whether religion or not, like whatever the other things are, you know, that aren't your belief system, you should learn about those.
Absolutely.
You know?
Like, especially if you're following like this Abrahamic law, right? Like if you are a Christian, you follow like an Abrahamic religion that was founded by Abraham, and like same with Judaism and Islam.
Yeah.
So like they're literally stemming from like the same like river delta.
Sure.
And so like, yeah, you can learn from all of them. I will say I am grateful like growing up one specific religion.
Yeah.
I think it makes things like simple as a kid. I'll probably raise my kids Catholic.
Yeah.
Because I like the structure of the faith.
Yeah,
just
it
for
makes
me
sense.
at least, like it made a lot of sense. Like I also know a lot of people that had very difficult times growing up Catholic for a myriad of reasons.
Sure.
That, like for them, maybe it would have been more helpful to be at, you know, the temple or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like, I like the way that it was structured for me.
Interesting.
What, your parents weren't religious at all?
No, not really. I mean, my mom was raised Protestant. My dad, Jewish, but his parents were like hippie artists, and so they didn't really celebrate that much, if anything.
What does your dad do?
He's an architect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then like when we were growing up, like my mom just loved Christmas because it's fun, but she would like put dreidels in the stockings for my dad, you know, and like light a menorah.
Yeah.
And then one day my dad was like, you don't need to do that. Like you don't have to light a menorah, because I didn't even really do that.
Yeah.
And we would just grow up with like the golden rule, like treat others as you wish to be treated. And
Yeah.
I had friends that were religious, and I just didn't think anything really about it. It was just like, I'm not that. I just like Christmas and Easter and like holidays.
Growing up, did you think about like God, afterlife? Was that like a part of the convo in the family?
A little bit, but my mom would always just say that like matter is neither created nor destroyed. So your energy will go somewhere.
Bro, she's on
more of the
she's on
woo-woo,
your shit, bro.
the woo-woo path.
Some
of just-
reincarnation vibes.
Yeah, she just said she was more agnostic, I
Interesting.
guess, as she was older. Just, I don't know. Something's out there. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, but I believe in something. There must be something greater. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think that's a completely reasonable take. Like that's what most people probably should believe. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like-
It was a comfortable place for me to just be like, yeah, I don't know what's out there, but I believe in something. And in terms of how I interact on a day-to-day basis, I'm going to treat other people as I wish to be treated.
Yeah. I mean, that seems like a great framework.
But also I celebrate Christmas, and then everyone was like, great.
Yeah,
As
because
long
that's
as you
also
celebrate Christmas.
the most fun.
Yeah.
That is the most fun by a mile. Like, I don't know. Hanukkah seems fun. I did Hanukkah with my Jewish friends growing up, and it was cool, but it's like, that's a long time. There's a lot of like being in the house. You only get like one present, and the present thing wasn't even a part of it. That was like co-opted to like not make the kids feel bad.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like kind of trash. I mean, like, yeah, Kwanzaa, that's not even really like, that's kind of not even as fun as Christmas, I don't think.
I actually don't know what a Kwanzaa celebration looks like.
Me neither.
Yeah, and actually I say Christmas more of
familiar
like
with
a fitting in thing.
Ah.
Like the majority of kids at my school celebrated Christmas.
Yeah, of course.
So the fact that I was a part of that and Easter, I think made it easy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And presents are sick. Yeah.
And yeah, presents are sick. But yeah. But the fact that I genuinely had excitement for it, my family celebrated it, I think put me in a
Did
like,
you guys do Santa?
like the belief in Santa?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We did.
You guys did?
Yeah.
Yo, is Santa real? If you guys are doing it.
I remember being so convinced one year and being like,
same.
that is insane. Like he's real.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And it was really just your dad? You're like, dude, Santa's Indian. Like, what are the odds, bro?
I had a lot of like, Indian superheroes. Like one time, like one of our really close family friends for my birthday showed up as Indian Batman, and it's on VHS. So I have the tape of me like losing my mind, knowing that Batman was Indian and that he showed up to my birthday.
And you were like,
Yeah, I
this
was
is
like,
awesome.
This is the best. This is so crazy.
He's so much paler in the movies, man.
Yeah.
but
There was a stark
I guess he's
contrast in
Indian.
the
Yeah.
movies between his face and the mask.
He's got like a real deep accent. You're like, this is also all right. This is cool. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild. Did he have gadgets and stuff?
Have what?
Like gadgets?
Oh yeah, yeah.
the way Batman did?
This particular birthday, like it's
This
all on
particular
video.
Batman.
Yeah, this particular Batman. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he showed up in like a black Ferrari too, so it was like a Batmobile type of thing, and it was like
It was like a rickshaw. It was much more similar to a rickshaw. Robin was
super
just
sleek
Robin was just running in the
rickshaw.
front holding it, dude. He's like, "Come on, Robin, keep going." And he's just going. He's got naan bread coming off the freaking belt. This guy's awesome. He's got like a fucking claw, jumps onto a train, rides off into the sunset. I like India Batman.
Sorry, I don't
dude.
understand that. Explain that a little bit.
I don't get it.
Was that even in this episode? I don't even know if we were
I
talking
don't know where the
before we
episode
started
started.
recording.
Or,
Me
yeah.
neither. That's
I can't tell if it's over.
That's
or
a
not.
great callback to have,
something that
To
happened
right before we started recording.
Yeah. People in my college, as a way to diffuse like racial jokes, would be like, "Hey, if you get told a racial joke, just have them explain it."
Yeah.
And so Indians like trains. Okay, I don't know how to explain this to you. I don't know if you don't know this yet, but you guys love the train the most. Okay,
I think
inside
that,
on
that
the top.
might be true.
Yeah,
that might be true.
It's you and autistic kids. Trains. It's like nonstop, dude.
We do love trains, and we romanticize trains a lot.
Oh, really? Like in Indian culture?
Yeah. Trains are very like romantic in Indian culture. My brother and I took an overnight train through India one time. It was a very like movie-like experience. There's people who like throw their luggage and run alongside the train and grab onto it and jump on it, and then like, you know, they come around with the chai and like shake it to wake you up and see if you want chai. It's like a very Wes Anderson. I mean, Wes Anderson made a movie about an Indian train, Darjeeling.
You think because
Unlimited.
it was like the first magical, inexplicable form of transportation? Like horses, it was like,
Yeah.
we've seen
Yeah.
horses
Magic
move.
carpet,
We
kind
can sit
of.
on top of
Yeah,
horses.
yeah. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah,
This is too
no,
much.
explain
I
that
don't
one.
get-
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, I don't understand the magic carpet.
You guys are
reference.
magical people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of like Bollywood movies set, you know, where the romance or like happens in a train, or there's like a pulling apart when someone takes a train. I don't know.
There's
We
so
like
much
trains.
freedom to this podcast.
Yeah,
We can
dude.
go anywhere.
Yeah.
We're
That's
like,
the
we're
point of
weaving and
life,
moving.
bro.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for. Flagrant is where like put in my hours, work super hard, make
Yeah.
it the greatest show, and then this, just hang out.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
like that is the purpose of the show. Is what is the environment that is the most natural that I can invite people over to have cool convos
It's
with?
incredibly rare. I mean, it's definitely super rare to find us in this setting. We've never really been in this setting.
We won't release
where,
it.
Where we can. Yeah, we're not gonna put this out, right?
No, of course
Okay,
not.
just don't.
My angle hasn't even been on the whole time.
I'm telling you.
But I also will say, like, I felt pretty nervous coming into this because, like, you know, we're very specific with what we do or put out there.
Yeah.
But I felt very comfortable on the show. Like, it's been really nice.
That makes me so
Yeah,
happy.
it's been
I
great.
appreciate it.
Same.
Yeah, thank
Exceeded
you.
my expectations.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
been very fun.
thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys taking the time to chat with me. I think genuinely, this is awesome. I've been a fan of you guys for super long, and I was so excited when Schultz was like, "Yeah, let's do the show." Like back in LA, however
That
long
was
ago.
really cool, man.
It was
Like,
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you really pushed that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I
Right?
was just in Schultz's ear, just like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these guys. I
Yeah.
don't even know like how many subs you had at that point or whatever.
I don't know how many subs we had, but that ended up being like a phenomenal. People bring up that episode all the time. to
Really?
us. It was the episode that stretched us beyond kind of. It's kind of funny because I consider Schultz and Flagrant, all of you guys, to be way more YouTube now
Yeah.
than you were back then.
Yeah.
Way more. And so that episode kind of stretched us and showed that we could talk to someone outside of our like traditional YouTube sphere.
Of course, because Schultz existed in like traditional media, MTV.
Yeah, he was
shit
like our
that.
bridge to explore like what does the world look like
Yeah.
for us as interviewers outside.
And I liked it for him also because there is like a stigma as like a comic of being like a YouTube comedian. And
Yeah.
like you can put YouTube in front of any profession
Or-
and it's a pejorative.
or even an
True.
entrepreneur. Because
Yeah,
Schultz
yeah.
on that show shows up as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He's talking about his yeah.
He is like he's
Yeah.
like the beautiful hybrid of
Right.
like genius comedic force and genius entrepreneur in one human being
Yeah.
that happens once a generation.
Yes.
But
So-
yeah, it's that thing of like I like the idea of destigmatizing being a YouTube comedian. And Schultz has done that.
Yeah.
Like I mean every comic is a YouTube comedian. Every comedian's an Instagram comedian because it's just permeated every platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that that was a place that he could like put a flag in the ground and be like, no, this is where we make cool shit.
Yeah.
This is where we're not confined by, you know, corporate industries, whatever, and we're able to like create freely how we want to.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've seen the ripple from that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
so many YouTube specials
time.
that are amazing and so many clips that are amazing
Yeah.
and people making genuine careers out of posting stand up that would exist behind a, you know, a corporation just freely on the platform. So thank you guys for doing
Dude,
that for
thank you,
Schultz
man.
and doing that for the fucking
I also
comedy world.
When we're in New York, I love coming here.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, like coming up and just like getting into the studio, it just feels like, I don't know, a world that I've always aspired to step into.
In what way?
It's like a studio. You guys have multiple shows that are shooting here. It feels like when I was a kid, I really aspired to be a part of Hollywood. Like I loved the concept of stepping onto a movie set and there's multiple things getting shot. And I think that has become very decentralized now. And so whenever I get to be in an environment like this, and there's a lot of these in LA that we get to walk into. I'd say TMG is another one. Like walking into TMG is always so cool. You're like, damn, this is crazy. These guys are shooting, and like I really look up to these guys. And I think coming in here, it's the same. It's like I watch Flagrant a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's really dope to be in here, but then also to just like see how much is going on in here. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it. And I want to check out your guys' space in LA.
Yeah, the new space is cool.
I saw
It's cool.
the YouTube short. It looks awesome.
Yeah, new space is cool.
Yeah. The old one was cool. Like I actually really was impressed by
Yeah.
the old one. I was like, oh, this is sick.
The old one had a lot of character.
It had a lot of
It was-
character, yeah.
It
It was like
was a special place for
garage,
sure. It's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
a garage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it almost feels like funny to be in such a big place now. It almost is like, whoa. Like when you're in a small
Yeah.
space doing whatever you can with what you have, you feel very much on that like artist's grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in some ways those episodes are cooler to me. Like the fact that Schultz came to that place.
Yeah.
And that Hassan Minhaj went to that place.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
he came there?
Yeah.
Like when everyone was working in the same space?
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah, yeah.
that's what I felt with our old studio and like Tony Hawk came.
Yeah,
And I was
totally,
like,
yeah.
dude, Tony, like Michael Irvin came to that spot, like,
Right.
and walked in, and the first thing he said, he's in a 3-piece suit, briefcase. He goes, I've got too many footballs to walk into places like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, that is a bar.
Yeah.
And also
That
completely
is.
true. It was a shithole.
Yeah, right.
And it's just so cool that those people gave us a shot in that time.
I would say the same with you guys. Like you guys walked into our space, and I remember everyone was sitting there in the back on that couch. You remember that? My brother was there. Like
Yep.
the whole back was full of people, and it was like hot, and no one could walk out because like the bathroom. You couldn't go to the bathroom in the middle of the show, and there's
Yeah.
like 12 people in the back. Yeah, that was like a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene was cool.
Do you feel pressure now that you're in like a more legit spot and that Vice feeling we talked about where like the overhead starts getting a little
Yeah.
heavy and the episode's got to start hitting?
Yeah, for sure. But
I think also as a viewer, I root for people more when their setup is shitty, when they're on the rise, when they're just
coming
trying
up.
to do
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mr. Beast talks about that, like intentionally filming in 1080
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make the feeling more organic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely we have a lot more. We have more pressure because we have staff, we have rent, we have expectations that we've set for ourselves, and most importantly, we have something. Like when you have nothing as a creative, it's very it's very exciting because you can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have something to lose.
Yeah.
So.
And how do you stay creatively organic and pure? Is there a process? Is there a convo?
I think it's doing stuff like this. That's like, this is on paper not something we would do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like,
even off paper.
Even off paper.
Really
E-
anywhere.
Even if you took this to a typewriter, this is not something we would do. And it just stretches.
I can't believe we're even here.
Yeah,
I know, I'm getting that vibe a lot from
To
over
be
here,
honest,
dude.
you're not the type of guy we'd hang out with.
Yeah. He's like,
Normally we wouldn't be caught dead with you.
I don't know how to stress this enough. This is a huge favor
This is
for
a
you.
no-go zone for us.
I'm not saying it's a favor to you. Don't take it as
Schultz,
that.
love the guy. You.
Who even is this guy?
I don't even know you.
I thought this was Barstool. I thought you were Caleb Presley. What's going on
I thought
right
you were
now?
short hair, Mark.
Yeah.
No, but like stretching the bounds of what, like putting yourself in those situations where you're just like, all right, now we're gonna express this part of ourselves.
Yeah.
And just see what that's like.
I think also the reality is you don't hit it every time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make shit where you're like, that
You
wasn't
do
it.
get more comfortable with failure in some ways. And I think that's been really nice. I am this year, as the pressure increased, like there was a lot of strategic things to do at the end of last year when we had a lot of momentum. And we kind of did different things than those things. Like we launched a second channel that's a lot more intimate, a lot more like dedicated, right? And that actually took away from us doing stuff on the main channel, which was really firing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's already kind of like, interesting, right? And then we're producing less stuff for the main channel. We did a big documentary at the end of last year. We haven't done another one of those. We have no plans on doing another one.
That was
of
a
those.
Mr. Beast doc?
Yeah, Mr. Beast Burger
So
Dog.
good.
Thanks, man.
I cried twice.
Really?
Wow. Literally. I got emotional. Like the idea of him walking out and all these
that
people
scene
cheering
is-
for him.
Dude,
Yeah.
I've watched this scene so many times. Yeah.
Bro. And for you guys to be
Yeah.
there, I mean, how insane. Like,
That was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool experience.
what was cut from it that you were like, fuck, like I cannot believe we have to cut this out. This is like heartbreaking.
Truthfully, not that much, which
Really?
is credit to
credit to Jimmy and Reed.
Jimmy and their team.
Because we send them a cut, and maybe they had notes on 2 scenes the first time,
The
and
only
they didn't
stuff-
even get cut out. They got like either had to have added context or cut around. It was stuff
that was the
without
stuff.
context.
It was like Jimmy's having a heated conversation with an employee, and there's no way for us in the edit to give the context that they've known each other for 10 years.
Yes.
Right, stuff like that.
I need help. I need answers. You guys, we're not figuring out how to do these photos fast enough.
Like him and Reed, they can butt heads.
Yeah,
and
'cause
there's,
they're
and
boys.
there's context.
yeah.
People know that's Reed. That's his manager.
Yeah.
But I give him a lot of credit for A, inviting us to do that, and B, just being like cool with just showing all those different sides of himself.
Yeah. That's very intimidating.
Yeah.
Like giving someone else all that creative control to be like, hey, you could make me look crazy.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it is
some
a
people-
high-stress situation.
He was out of control, right? He didn't have control over that situation, which was a pretty unique setting for him.
Yeah.
That was a wild scene. It's so funny. There's people who were part of that opening who we were with that whole day, and we have this weird bond with those people because it was so unique.
Yeah.
Like to actually be in a closed space with like 20,000+ people and a bunch of cops and people being like, this is out of control.
Have you ever seen Dunkirk?
Yeah. They're all running, dude.
But like, you know the rhythm of Dunkirk?
Yeah. That's it.
It's just like for like 2 hours,
Yeah.
3
That's
hours
going to
maybe.
be used in the intro.
Yeah.
Like
I was just looking at Colin's eyes. I was like, that's an intro moment.
that's what it was
Yeah.
though.
I
You
get
know?
abduction. Like, dude, how long do they talk about aliens for? But it is wild, right? I mean, I was talking to this guy, Dan Levy. He's like a behavioral scientist. He said the greatest way for 2 human beings to bond as one is to do hard things together. There's no greater way.
Totally.
You can go to a mixer. You can like the same music. It doesn't compare to 2 people doing a hard challenge at the same time together.
Yes.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
And so, like, sports teams, military, opening a burger restaurant, like just by
In a mall in New
serendipity.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Those are
like,
the 3. Yeah. Those are the 3 that.
Those are the big 3.
Yeah.
And you guys were just there, and like
Yeah,
now you're
yeah,
inexplicably bonded for eternity, dude. In the afterlife, you're gonna be like, Tarek, what's up? Jimmy,
Tarek.
what's up, dude?
Dude. I love Tarek.
He's the best.
He's the best.
I'm hanging with him tomorrow.
Are you?
cool.
Is he in
Yeah.
New York?
Yeah, he's flying in.
Oh, nice.
To hang?
Just only to hang. Yeah, I flew him out, dude. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
You
saying?
doing flyouts right
I'm like,
now?
Drake, baby, let's go.
Doing friend flyouts?
Just only dudes. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
find cool dudes. I'm like, dude, you want to come hang?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's in town. But yeah, he's the best. His whole squad is amazing. All those guys. Like,
Great. Yeah,
you can really
great
judge
squad.
a person based off of like the company they carry.
Totally.
And everyone that hangs with MrBeast and the whole squad, they're just like solid people.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
You guys did a great job with him on the show too. That was
Oh,
fun.
that was so
Yeah,
fun.
That was fun.
That happened in like 16 hours. We
that's
found out that he was
Yeah.
coming on.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it was less than that. We found out he was coming on that day. We had another guest book. We were doing 2 pods that day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And we had to call the guest in the afternoon and be like, dude, can you do tomorrow? We have this guy, he's up in like upstate filming a video. They have one like day of downtime. He's coming into the city. And we literally got him in 2 hours flat. Normally we have like a couple days where we do like prep. We like read about the guest. Everyone learns. That was just what we knew in the moment. Hey, let's go.
I think that's the longest interview of him ever.
Dude.
I think.
And I could have gone for another 2 hours. I love it.
That's awesome.
I mean, I know you guys are trying to leave right now, but I'm holding you hostage. Like, I just like
You can just feel that
This is
energy?
my favorite thing.
You can feel that my mind has gone to where are we going to eat next?
dude.
We're going to go to Vic's. or
Samir
we're
just
gonna go-
sitting here like arms crossed, just like, you can feel that, dude? How wild.
I'm like at one foot out. You can feel this?
Yeah. You can,
Really? You could tell?
Crazy, right? Well,
I'm actually really enjoying this. I just am getting stressed because of your wife calling, and I know that feeling.
I don't have a wife.
Okay,
I'm
all
making all this up,
Okay,
dude.
you're making
This
all
is
this
all
up.
fake.
None of this is
Got it,
real.
got it.
None
You're
of this
doing
is
real.
The cameras aren't even on.
Yeah, you're
she
doing-
goes to a different school, bro.
That's just AI.
Yeah.
I
I
have an
met her on
AI
a cruise.
chatbot that hits you up occasionally.
Yeah, I have a language model
Yeah.
of her, okay? Yeah, she's been dead since 94, and I just listen to her voice every day. That's going to be a crazy future, dude.
Comedians get really dark.
Is that dark?
Yeah.
She's not
Yeah.
dead. Like, if I just said something
Valid
that's not
point.
true, is that dark?
I don't know.
I'm just like,
Maybe.
the sky's green. Dark. No, it's not. It's just
But
not
that's
true.
not dark.
That's not dark.
Yeah.
It's green.
Look at this guy, dude. Fucking Larry David, what's the deal, man? It's just in his bones, dog. That's crazy.
I just never been on a podcast as long. I'm like going crazy.
Fine, okay, fine. We'll be done, okay?
No, we don't.
No, fine. No, that's it. That's it, dude.
You guys vote right now. There's a poll in the corner. Should we be done or not?
Tell the people where they can find you.
Whatever,
Whatever,
just got
dude.
so excited that you said we're done and just got up immediately.
Fine. Does no one want to do this?
I'm more just concerned
Why
for
does no
Will.
one like this podcast except me? What's hang out with
I
me?
actually really enjoy it. I enjoy this pod.
It's not gonna feel safe till we leave, till we get out the door.
Yeah. No, we will get out of here. I'm genuinely grateful you guys took the time to chat with me. This is so cool. Genuinely, I've been a fan of you guys for a long time. Love everything you do. Thank you so much. Everyone can find you at Colin and Samir on YouTube.
That's right.
Samir and Colin also. Second channel, which is
That's
great.
right.
Shorts are popping.
Right. Everything's popping.
Everything's going great, dude.
Yeah.
And this has been brought to you by Samsung Galaxy.
That's right.
Yeah, also that.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to be associated with this brand and Samsung, but this is brought to you by Samsung Galaxy. So thank you guys so much.
This is what Samsung pays us for.
Yes,
dude.
dude.
It's for this.
Seriously, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Let's get out of
Thank you,
here.
man.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, man.